Welcome to the stream tonight. I am your host, Gary Lamb, bringing relevant content on life, women, in the pursuit of happiness. I am here with my panel of judges, I should say, esquires or whatever the heck you want to call it. But we are going to discuss a very, very special topic to me, and that is, can you effectively turn a woman of the night into a housewife? Let's talk about it.
Who wants to go first?
I think I'm going to, only because I want to scream plagiarism.
What?
All right.
Okay.
I want you to take the last, 5 or so minutes of what the premier was, what the lady in the premier was saying. If you had to use 2 words, Gary, to describe what she was talking about, we heard, and I looked it up. If I could have found the time to grab the clip. We did a live stream where you could clip me going on for about 5-6 minutes saying the same thing.
Oh, okay. We all think the same stuff, but we all think it. We all know. We know. The reason why this girl was so spot on, because we all knew it. Every last one of
those 2 words.
We never, like, this is not something we just bring up. You know what I'm saying? We too busy focusing on our life. Like, I'm trying to make sure my wife is happy. I'm not paying no mind to no woman out there. So when we hear it, we're like, yo, that's some goofy ass, and then you go on with your life. You don't really think about it.
Dude. Well traveled.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Right? 2 words. We talked about it for 4 hours a couple weeks ago. When you listen to everything coming out of her mouth, the only thing she didn't say that we talked about, well traveled.
No,
That
she
word
actually did.
appetite
But hold on, she
is
did though. She said she was going on plane rides, going places. She talked about it. That was in
I'm
there
just
too.
saying.
That was in there too. So when women come out and say, so you're telling me that just because I'm well traveled, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is stop using that term. It brings back, it just, it's like, okay, the way y'all feel about the word submit, we really feel that way about well traveled. Okay? We don't want that. We've tried with them women. It's annoying.
Yeah, like I
We've
said, I just wanted a
tried.
quick kickback that we done talked about this during that live stream, and that woman said basically everything. She used the word appetite, but us men, at least me when I was listening to it, every time she said the word appetite, well traveled, well
Well
traveled,
traveled. Well
well
traveled.
traveled.
It was a freaking beacon. Wah, 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 wah. It was a beacon. She's not talking with that kind of passion because she doesn't know. She knows. And that's the point. She freaking knows. She's like, boo, you think you, because she thought she was hot shit. She thought she was hot shit. Listen, hear what she was saying. She was like, there's no way in hell I'm getting dudes to do all this for me. Yeah, because they rich. It's easy to take you on these trips that you probably work for the dude somehow and you don't even know the damn thing. How did y'all
or
meet?
or that setting
Business
of
meeting,
false
right?
expectation.
Like these people got bread to do those things with you
But think about it, they paying to play. That's realistically what it is.
because that's the game they play. These women they don't know these are freaking women looking for a husband. They don't care. This is just a game we play. I've been playing this since I was a kid. I will grab them by the shut their mouth and you would not care. They would not care.
Yeah, but the women think as long as they get their foot in the door, maybe it can lead to something else. Regardless if that's the
Yes.
game that us men play or whatever, you still got to get your foot in the door somehow. So
And
if
what are the three
they're
men on this panel saying about that, though, Wally?
Mhm.
What are
You
we
said
saying
what?
about? What are the three of us men saying about that concept that you think you can, but you're going to get the foot in the door? You're
It doesn't
not.
work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Well, and the thing is, there's outliers that it may happen, but since women will see an outlier happen, they're thinking, "Oh, me too. I can be that outlier." And I think that's where the problem then lies.
Yes, it
It-
does. It
you
really
see,
does.
you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know
And
what we
Yeah.
call that when a man does that? It's called the degenerate gambler.
huh? Degenerate gambler.
A woman banking on being the one is no different than that dude that can't stay away from the craps table.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the
Sunday,
men.
I'm
It's
in
the,
the
it's
house.
the it's the
I'm not
lottery
letting.
mentality. One day, if
Yes.
I just keep playing, one day, I was like, fool, your day will never come up.
But see, it's the problem is though you're playing Russian roulette or a game of craps with your body.
Yes.
That's where the problem lies. You're
Yes.
playing it with your body. Playing it with money, I understand you could lose everything, but that's material. You could
Yeah.
replace that. You could be dead broke and you could bounce back from it. But your body, you only have one.
Yep.
The damage
Yep.
is the
And if
damage, and
you
I think everyone on the
and this is what we've been trying to say for the longest time. If you keep damaging yourself, there's no incentive for me to come over there and try to say scoop you up. I can't perform that. I won't perform like that. That's a that is a drug infested environment, folks. I don't have that kind of energy. Are you serious? Like these guys are coke that off their ass, and y'all think y'all gonna compete with that? No, that's how they compete. These dudes be up hours and hours and hours and hours. You're not competing with that. You don't want to. Believe me. Stop living with the Joneses. Period.
You got to think about it though. People live with the Joneses because that's what people are telling them to do. Like, and I'm
Mhm.
not saying this to be funny, but think about it. Any magazine, any tabloid, any television show is basically just programming the next generation of people. If
Yeah.
that's what all your television shows are showing, that's what all of your social media is showing, that's what all of the magazines are showing, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
You have the ones who are addicted to that kind of stuff, they're going to
Mhm.
try to live that lifestyle. The ones
Yep.
who don't pay attention to that stuff is looking at these people like, yo, this is dumb. I don't know
Yeah.
why you're doing what you're doing.
Please
Get your
stop.
mind right and please
Yeah.
stop.
Aren't you talking
You're
about
so
poor
right.
parenting there?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Aren't you talking about poor parenting there?
You know what? It's not always about parenting. You could have the best parents in the world, but when you become an adult, you
Hmm.
make those choices yourself. And the
But
problem is, you got people that are delusional too. They don't want what they saw growing up.
See, let me.
Yeah.
In Ebony K. Williams' behalf, did she not get put through college by a bus driving mother?
Correct. So to me, if your bus driving mother was able to help you get the life that you have now, why is that a problem? It shouldn't be a problem because that should have gave you character. That should have
It's just
given you all of the other stuff that would have aided trying to find someone who maybe mimics the people that are around you because
But
those are good traits to have.
how do we not know for her upbringing, even though the mother was a bus driver and everything like that, we don't know
Hold that
all the
question.
things that she might have. Okay,
Just hold
no,
that
it's
question.
okay. I was just
go ahead.
agreeing with Erica
Uh,
Okay, go ahead.
because
yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead,
no,
baby.
go
Go ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was saying like you said, Erica. Hey y'all. I was saying like yeah, because it don't matter, everything is your choice. Is what you want to do. You grown. She could have watched her mother struggle and all of this and this and this, and then became grown. And then, like you said, that's why I'm like, cut it off. Get off the social media. Get that stuff is not real. Then you copying that. People end up wanting that. And then it's like, okay, but how you don't want a guy that drives the bus? Your mom drove a bus, and then you don't even know what his plans are. You don't even give him the time of day because why? Because she's trying to live up to these people that live in these fake lives, or that's their life. So it really, I don't know that it has everything to do with how you were raised, because you could raise people to the very best of your ability, but once they get grown and they decide they're going to do what they want to do, you have no control over that.
Okay. See, I think parenting might have to play a role in it. The reason why I say the parenting might have to play a role in it is because yes, her mother was a bus driver, but if the mother is pounding it, hey, I want you to live a better life than me and don't go the path I do and make sure you set yourself up.
Oh, that's
If
a
you're
good
getting this
perspective.
pounded in your head, it's gonna make you look down at a bus driver. It's like, yo, I watched my mother struggle.
I'm going to be better than my mother. My mother was
Yes.
just a bus driver. I had
Hmm.
that same mentality. I said, I'm going to be better than my father because he told me to be.
Yeah.
So I
I
wanted
wouldn't
to
Yeah.
give up just because of that. And my father was the best father I've ever. He was the shit. So I got to be the shit for my family. I ain't got no choice.
Yeah.
He done pissed. He done passed his damn torch to me. I was like, I want to go and play, man. I can't go out. I can't play. I can't play. I want to
And
play.
in her case, her mother paid for her college. So it's like,
She
oh,
didn't
you
play.
got to.
She
You
didn't
got to.
play. You better do better than me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't play. I worked the rest of my life so you can go to college. So you
Hmm.
better do better than me. But to say that you won't date me,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hardworking parent like me, you wouldn't want to be with me. That's interesting because I was the man in your life.
so I want to defend my position a little bit, or my statement, I guess.
Hmm.
I find it unlikely, plausible, but unlikely that every one of us in this panel, doesn't have a code of morality based on what our parents raised us up to be. Yes, there's people that disrespect their parents or what have. What we're talking is again generalities. That most of our morality, most of our moral compass, and what we want to achieve and how we're willing to achieve it is based on how we were raised. So if you're not letting your kids chug down tons of media, if when your kids are seeing something on media and you're being a proactive parent and saying like you realize that this is all smoke and mirrors, right? Now I'm going to start a little bit of a flame maybe in here, so I have a question slash statement and I want to get your guys' take on it because it was brought up about how her mother paid for college and so on and so forth. Could it be that the reason why she doesn't respect what she has so much is because of two magic words? Affirmative action. So her mom may have kicked in a few bucks, but how much of her college was covered because of her skin color? How much of her college was covered because she a woman? So I
don't know.
would put forward the possibility.
That is definitely that is a bomb. That is a
Yeah.
major bomb because there's a lot of men out there that are being passed up, and it's like, what's the point? So that's a major bomb. There's a lot of men being passed up for those jobs. Like you look at the anchor, look at any news, you see less and less men. Every single time you look at the news, it's less and less men, right? Less and less men. Everybody, the reporters are men. Anchor person is the weather person, all women. You know, they're just being replaced.
But I'm gonna interject there. So you said the mom was a bus driver. Guarantee that's working class. Guarantee if she's the only one, even if she had two, because most bus drivers make over 50,000 a year, she wouldn't get much for school. I can guarantee you that. Because a lot of times with the EOF programs, your parents have to make under a certain amount of money for you to get those benefits in the states. Looking at the type
Wow.
of schools that, remember, I went to school. So those are all things you got to look at when you start doing it. The problem now is, yes, she went to school probably around the same time I did, where you could have potentially got them student loans at 17, 18 years old. Your mother could have kicked in, but you could have came out with a substantial amount of debt as well. So it's a catch 22 because those programs do not benefit the working class. They benefit the underprivileged or the people that are the outliers. Hey, you were the valedictorian, you were the salutatorian. Yes, you're going to get the free ride to school. If your parents are pitching in at all, half of the times you didn't get a free ride.
Great.
But
Great
I
point.
do,
That's
but
why
I
I
do,
posed the question because I don't know in the background what this looks like.
correct. But I also understand where you're coming from too. When you have to strive and do your own work, you have to be the one that pay for it. You appreciate some of the stuff a little bit more because it's easy to go, mom and dad did X, Y, and Z. But mom and dad might have got your foot in the door. You're the one that has to do the work. If you don't do the work and you don't see where your mom and your dad helped get you to that place and you don't respect that as an issue either, that's a problem. Because my thing is, yes, you're right. If your bus driver mom helped you get through school, guess what? You could potentially date a bus driver. Because think about it. If they didn't go to school, that means they don't have the debt that you had coming out. That means they probably had more work experience than you did. If they started driving a bus, what, 18, 19 years old, you don't think by 45, 50, they not retirement age at that point? You don't think they didn't put some money aside, 401k or a savings on their own? Some of these bus drivers that you don't want to date got whole houses that are basically paid off at this point. And don't let you be a private bus driver. You're making more than that city bus driver.
Hmm.
Because people fail to realize some of these blue collar, white collar jobs make more money than some of these corporate jobs if you position it correctly.
Hmm. Interesting. So let's get on topic today. Uh, what is your, since you are in the box there and you already got warmed up, everybody loosed up now? You ready to have this talk?
Of course.
Let's get it
Okay,
going.
let's go. So what well, you're all right. Somebody left. We lost Mel. Let's give him a moment. But we're gonna go ahead and put Erica back in the box. Back in the box. Not in the box. Just go ahead and talk.
All right. So, do I think Astrid can turn into a housewife? Is there the potential? Yes. But they have to be the one willing to make those changes. Because think about it. If you force me into it, I am not going to like it very well. I am not going to comply and I will fight you every step of the way. But if she's willing to change, then yes, she could become that housewife that you want. But you also gonna have to deal with the backlash because you don't know what that past is. Now, if she's open and honest about the past, then you might be okay. Because think
I
about it,
got
you got celebrities every day who had the persona that they were out there, and they then became some housewives.
I got a question for you because you said something that you said stood out. Said, if you try and force me to, we have a problem. Now we just had a conversation in the intro saying, um, damn, I just lost train of thought of what I was about to say. We we just had a conversation. I got it. We just had a conversation about getting your foot in the door and acting a certain way for women, which will attract guys or whatever. So if your persona is being promiscuous to get your foot in the door, and you meet the guys, you come across the guys that have the money. If you're portraying that you're a housewife and that guy decides to accept and marry you, and now that you say, I got the quote unquote got the bag, and now you're not doing those things that you were doing, that's not something that's forcing. You put yourself in that box because you gave off that persona that these are the things that I do. So now that you got the ring on the finger, now all of a sudden you want to switch up and now live the life you want to.
Which a
So
lot of
is it
them do.
yeah, so is it a case of no, you're not gonna force me, or you're just a chameleon at this point just to get the bag, so to speak?
That's the
See,
problem, though. You have to, regardless, the man has to vet these women. She could
yes, you
do
do.
everything, quote unquote, that you want her to do. Because think about it, them first few months, matter of fact, that first year, you still got that person's ambassador. So if you really want this to be the long haul, no, you have to really know these people. Because if you don't, guess what? This is why the divorce rate is so high right now. Because people go in thinking it's supposed to be one way, and then it's like, oh, this is what we doing? Okay, gotta go. Bye. No, that's not how a relationship or a marriage is supposed to work. You're supposed to come to the table with what you can accept and what you can't. If you decide these are the things that we are going to work on, then you should be okay. But
Yeah, I
if
was
you're telling me from the jump you were a chameleon, no, because guess what? You're always going to change
right.
based off of whatever the wind blows.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when the Gary brought this topic, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, nobody. The truth is, nobody can make nobody do nothing. You can't. Nobody can't change nobody into nothing. Overall, in general, You can't change. So this particular topic being the same difference, you can't. Nobody can change that. Um, word. Can we say that?
I don't know. That's why I said asterisk.
A
Asterisk.
H, a
You can say
H. I just
No,
say a H.
you can
the
say it,
A.
but
You
yeah, it's
can't
not going to
say
be
okay.
good.
You can't change the H into nothing. She have to decide like what's the name? Miss Pope from the taping.
Hmm.
She went into her whole plethora of her previous life that she dated these men and this was her thing and blah 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 blah. But it was up to her because what she wanted in her future. So then she changed her list and she decided, all right, that didn't work. And I don't know where Mal went, but it was like the same difference where these women go out and they put out the bait. Oh nope, that like you're saying, Gary, they put out the bait, they get something back, like, oh, that was the wrong fish. Throw it back out. Oh nope, that was the wrong fish. So then you putting out something that you clearly don't want and is not what you was expecting for your future. Nobody, but at the end of the day, nobody can't make nobody decide to do or be anything. If that's what she wants to do for her life, and if that's what her operative goal is later on, then that's for that woman to do what she wants. Just like the same difference as she talked about, you can't make a dude, what do you call it, a playboy.
Hmm.
Can't nobody change him unless that's what he ready to do. Like she said, ain't no man gonna marry until he's good and ready. So this woman is not gonna change until she's good and ready.
See, when it comes down to being a husband, we're serious about you. We are serious. And when we see what happens, when we see these signs to those who actually gave them a shot, we see that and we say, okay, well, travel, no, thank you. Independence, no, thank you. You just automatically say no, thank you. I don't even want to give it a chance because we see what these women do when they burn out.
Oh,
They go and
what?
try to get one of us. They figure, if I sex them the way because here, let's be honest, they're far more superior than we are in the sex game. These women are amazing because they've had a lot of practice. You hear me? They've been sluts for years. So when they get a hold of, let's say, a regular dude who make 150,000 a year, I mean, it ain't what I'm used to, but he can keep the lights on.
So there's a little thing that I don't think I want to let slide too fast for too long. So
What's
I'm
that?
going to call Miss Eric out a little bit.
Okay.
You're going to call Erica out.
Absolutely. I'm going
On
to
what?
argue, and my point of contention is that most women are leaving marriages because y'all want to keep trading up because you believe that you deserve or are entitled to better. Just like the well-traveled women, when we're talking about a woman when she's starting off young, it's the same concept when they're mid-20s, early 30s. I'm going to settle for this to get myself started and just work my way up the ladder.
You know what? I'm a rebuttal that. You might be right in most of those cases, but it also depends on those kind of women. If you got those kind of I want to do better woman, you knew you had that in the beginning. You knew it. Because the traits are always the same. It's always going to be they want more than what you can provide. It's
Yep.
always going to be you knew they always progressively wanted better because I guarantee you the ones that went into a marriage saying this is one and done, they're not interested in moving up because they're interested in progressing with you.
No, I'll take the chastise on that point, but like I said, I just wanted to kind of make sure that we threw out there, or that I threw out there, that I think the vast majority of these divorces now is because it's easy for a woman. It's now easy, period, to just throw away a relationship and try to trade up.
And
And
I
right
get that.
there,
But then on the flip side is you get a lot of them women who realize they got rid of what they had, and every situation after that was worse than what they had. You get a lot of women that get like that too. Think about the Kim K's of the world. Remember how many marriages she really had?
Who?
Kim Kardashian. You remember how many marriages she had before she got to Kanye? People don't really remember. I remember she had the baseball player that I think she was only married to for less than a year. She had about 2 or 3 other marriages before she settled on Kanye. Even at this point, you're still divorced, and I guarantee she's going to look for somebody else later on. Look at the
of
type of people
course
that she
she
was
And
with.
is. She's
meanwhile,
gonna
and
blow that money
meanwhile,
so fast. Are
and,
you serious?
and
Correct.
meanwhile,
But
Kanye
think about
West
it
is
though.
married again.
Correct. He is. He didn't go back on I'm about to go out and date all over again. He was like, okay, I'm gonna get somebody that looks similar because that's obviously his
What he
preference.
likes. That's what he
Correct.
wants.
Yeah.
So it's what he likes, it's what he wants. He found a newer model and said, okay, come on, input new wife here. The problem is when you start looking at her, you not that 20 and 30 no more. You got 50, 11 kids at this point. So whoever is coming in has to make a certain income level because of what you make. One. Two, you already know they're not coming to play the daddy role because obviously Kanye has a strong personality. So I'm like, you have to look at those aspects too. At what point do you think you about to be washed up? Because think about it, the stuff that got you into the industry is not the same stuff that's keeping you in the industry.
Yep, that's what we were talking about, right, Gary? With this whole like Vivica Foxes and the whole,
Yep.
Lisa Rays and all of that. Okay, you was like that young hot thing, and you know what I mean? Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Them,
we can hear you.
them young hot thing and all of that, and then at some point that changes. And so I agree. What Eric's talking about. At the end of the day, you gotta vet these people. Can't nobody say all up and down here that okay, great, that's what he liked, whatever the case, whatever. But I'm sure that if you looked a little bit into the history, you know that she have a history of different dudes and she was in the industry and there's many that are like that. They it's always a come up, a come up, a come up, and an upgrade, an upgrade, an upgrade. So like whose real fault is that? Not to say as far as fault and whatever, but if you do your research on the person and you look back before, you can't just negate the whole past. Yes, the past and the past, but yeah, but that past helped make that person. So it should that after that whole, it's a couple of months and whatever. Yeah, that's cute. That's the representative. You still don't really know that person.
Right.
So it should have been some research done. Give it a minute. It ain't, and if it's going somewhere, then let it go somewhere. You know?
Let me throw my hat into the ring. Can you turn a H into a housewife? Yes, you can. It's a possibility. But at the end of the day, if that's the decision you make to run your body count up, then you gotta live with the consequences. Anything in life, your history matters. Whatever you try and do, your history is going to matter as far as where you've been, who you done with what, whatever the case may be. And the difference is, I understand women are like, yo, I want to be sexually liberated, all of this stuff. Fine, you can do that. But just know men do not really value women that's been out there like that. Women, on the other hand, love an experienced man because what do women say? I want a guy that's experienced and I don't have to teach him to do nothing. So women glorify men that was out there because that's like a signal to women. Women want this guy, and women love that competition. Men on the other side, we don't like that. We don't look for women that are out there like that. So pretty
Because I'm
much
not I'm
after,
not trying to, bruh.
yeah,
It's so easy to tell. I'm not him, right?
yeah,
I'm not him. I don't want to be him. I want to be me. If I wanted to be a slut and be a hoe, I would have went out there and got a job in the industry.
yeah.
So I don't want that. But at the same time, can you get mad at all the men that do want that?
No, you
You
can't.
No,
can't. You can't. So here's my thing. How many dudes are turning housewives into whores?
Can you go over that you told me? Like
What's that?
the so it's the slut and it's the
Oh yeah,
hoe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Like
here's the
it's
thing.
levels out here.
There's levels to this game, right? So you have a slut, you have a whore, you have a what did you call, not a call girl, but an escort. You
yeah,
got the rub and tugs, you got the massage parlors, you got so many categories of women that you can pick from. Each one of them
hmm
have their price. Each one of them have a tell. You just gotta once you know what it is, you know how you can play that game. Okay, sluts are women that just can't get enough. They have to have sex, so you can get that woman relatively easily. All right, you got the prostitutes version. You know what I'm saying? She'll do it for some money. You know what I'm saying? She'll do whatever for some money, take out, eat, whatever. And you got levels of that stuff too. You got levels. But then you have the escorts who are the working bees. They're the one this is their business. This is what they do for a living. They're out there to make money. Um, that's a different type of woman. She's in the sex industry, right? She might be a stripper, or she might be a pole girl, or an exotic dancer. Her job is to look good for men. That's what she do. That's a different woman. Okay, that woman has dignity of the yin yang. Okay, she don't let anybody touch her. Okay, that is not a slut. That's not a whore. That's a working girl. She has a job. Her job
Mhm.
is to look good for men. That girl is a good girl. You don't pass that up. All right. You don't mess that with the and I understand I wouldn't want a woman that's in the porn industry. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? But a woman with that type of a freaking bruh, y'all never broke. Y'all
Cause think about it.
never broke. Do you
And
understand me? Y'all never broke.
correct, but think about it. There's always an exit strategy with those too. They say,
Mhm.
"Hey, I'm gonna do this for a certain amount of money, or till we get this particular lifestyle,"
Exactly.
and
There's
then they
usually
call
an
it
exit
quits when they done.
strategy. Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's usually an exit. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I'm going to kind of hammer through a bunch of stuff on everybody. So somebody's going to have to flag me down when they want to cut in on me. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tag is Gary on the term or the concept of a slut, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to redefine that because a slut, and here's my argument, and this is why I haven't answered the question yet. I'm going to hold off answering the question because to me, there's a whole lot of steps to even get to this question.
Yes, it
So
is.
I'm going to redefine slut because I'm going to argue a lot of women that are sluts are women that want love but don't understand love and think that by spreading their legs they're getting love.
I'm so okay. Boy, I love you, motherfucker. You a bad nigga. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Bruh?
Love you too,
Listen,
bro.
that's why I immediately got back out of the game. I got in, I did my due. Wait a minute. You serious? You're serious? You're serious? Did you hear what I said to you though? And you're serious? I got the fuck out. These women was serious. They knew I was married. They knew they had no chance in hell. They were serious.
But they were empty. And
There
something
you go.
better
They
than
needed something to
nothing.
fill them up, and I could not do that to them. I had to get the hell out of that. They was missing something. When I realized that, I was like, fuck me, Toya's missing something.
But think about it though. That's why you have people who be having mistresses for 5 and 10 years
Yep.
because they already know the wife gonna get you on every holiday, and you already know what it is, and it's gonna be, hey, I'll call you when I get a little bit of time. I'll see you when I'm in town, and that's all they really need is that little bit. You ain't gotta give them
But see,
much
that's where
most of the
the
time.
independent woman comes in play. Thank you, Erica. You're good. Thank you. See, I need a woman that has a life.
Yeah,
We run into each other when we run into each other. We screw like animals, and I'll see you next week. You have a life. I can't the housewife thing. That's not going to really work. You're going to want something that I can't give you.
correct.
So the next call out, and this is kind of on Gary again, was when Gary was talking about women wanting a man who knows what he's doing. I'm going to push back on that and say a man does not need to know what he's doing. When he shows up, he's got to be willing to put in the time and the effort each and every time.
Mm-hmm.
If that man starts at the top and works his way down and back, up and down a few times, he'll figure her out. He'll make her happy just by being there because we've said it before. A woman needs her mind, her soul, then her body love. So it's not whether or not you're good with your stick. It's whether or not you're there for the whole game. You can make you can make a woman happy showing up with a big stick, knowing how to use it, and pop and drop in 15 minutes. But
Yeah.
that guy that doesn't know how to use the stick, but's playing the game for that one for an hour and a half, is going to make her happy too.
He's
And
going
in
to
the
figure it
long
out. He's not going to. He's going to figure it out.
right,
He's not going to stop until he figure it out.
right.
See,
So
I gotta give pushback on that though, because you can have women who are so into the guy because of everything that he does for her. So even if he's trying to figure it out and it's not doing it for her, she has no problem faking it to make him happy just to feed the ego. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
it's right. I'm not saying it's
Mhm.
right whatsoever. But what I'm saying is this guy can be thinking, yo, I'm
thank
figuring
you.
it out and everything like that. But in her mind, she's like, no, it's not happening. I remember the one couple that was doing a YouTube like a podcast or something, and she literally was like, yo, you never made me orgasm. And they've been together for years. And he's like, yo, what about all the noises and stuff? She was like, yeah, I had to fake it.
Which brings me to my next push point in this conversation. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Perfect segue for me. And that is the two things in a freaking relationship that have to be figured out before, during, and more during,
Mm-hmm.
and more during. And that is truth and communication.
Yes.
Because you can't answer the question that you want answered, that this whole panel is about, unless those two words are front and foremost in your conversation with that person.
Boom.
If you can't be truthful, you can't be trusted. If you can't
And
trust,
I gotta
you
be
can't
able
have
to do it the way that I would do it. You cannot get in my way of trying to teach you my body.
right.
You have to be willing to learn.
And
Okay.
not get all
And you
wimpy
can't get butt hurt. I'm telling you, you gonna get it. Just listen. That's it. I'm not telling you to be on some jack that and you all, but yeah, but how did you figure that out? The nigga,
Don't
look,
ask.
you
don't
don't
wanna
need to know. Okay? That's none of your business. I'm with you now. Just listen. And I think a lot of men just they're so insecure with that. Because they hear that stat, very few women actually orgasm. They hear that stat and they get paranoid. And I'm like, question, is it possible that the women that care about you just don't want to hurt your feelings?
Or more
And it's
importantly,
like,
is that you can't take criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Or I got you one even better. You have some women who've never had it. So because they've never had it, they don't know.
mm,
Yeah, I was just about to say you get of a certain. I think so much to say age, but
I can't hear Miss Lamb.
um, I'm muting myself. You hear me?
Yeah,
Better?
we hear.
I'll talk like this then. Yeah, the woman got to know her body, but and I was gonna. That's one thing, and so I agree with Erica about that. You got to know your own body, and that goes for both men and women. You like what's going on. You got to be able to talk to each other and be able to receive the truth, whatever it is. You know what I mean? That happens way before you even get in a bedroom. So if y'all can't talk to each other, that's a major problem. You can't receive from each other. That goes in and out the bedroom. That goes to the bills. That goes to the livelihood. That goes to every area of your life. You can and up and including sex. You know what I mean? So that's everything. That includes everything. She can't get upset because he said he like it this way. Unless y'all was in the Stone Age and y'all got together when you was 5, life happens. Life in, and it is what it is. And then y'all can learn together. But if y'all not even ready to, you know, go out the drawing board and let's talk about this, then we got way more problems of what's happening right here in the bedroom.
Right. Right. Like preach it. I mean, if y'all can't talk about the basic things out of the bedroom, how do you think you're going to talk about the make you blush things? Right.
yeah,
And this follows up with when you start dating early on, you expect to be fumbling. So the woman expects to fumble, the man expects. No man is born being able to do the one-handed boulder holder removal. We train to do that like Olympics. All right. It takes us years to perfect the reach, the up, without her noticing, and whoops, there it's gone. That doesn't happen. It's like a thief. You got to practice it. Okay. So this goes back to, again, in the beginning of a relationship, in the beginnings of the relationship, one of the statements that you made was, well, some women don't realize because they ain't never had. But here's the thing. If you're making love to your partner, you're not having 15-minute quickies. You're having 3-4 times a week, 1-2 hour lovemaking sessions where you're starting from the head, working your way down the toes, and going up and down both sides of each other 3 or 4 times.
Whoa.
I'm gonna hit that wall. I know you want to tag me on
No,
this.
I'm just saying 3-4 hours. Nah, who got time for 3-4 hours nowadays, man?
Hold on. You say that. But one of my things that I've got on my list is called the mathematics of sex. I brought it up to Gary a few weeks ago.
I used it in the freaking live, bro.
I must have missed that
premiere.
You used the concept. Used part of the concept. Yeah. But I'm going to break down the mathematics of sex in the mathematical formula. 1 + 1 = anyway. So the thing is that if two people are working and exploring each other, you're going to learn what feels good progressively. It's going to be an accident. One day Toya's going to be laying there, or Eric is going to be laying there, and he's going to touch your belly button. You're, holy crap. Or, you're going to go down on your woman, you're going to kiss her foot, she's going to kick and break your nose. You're going to learn through experimentation. And as long as both parties aren't going to take it to heart when the partner says, I don't like this thing. And as long as both people are spending their time together trying to explore, eventually you'll hit that marker. It might take a year, might take 5, might take 10, but you have a lifetime to learn each other. Eventually you'll get there.
I have a question for you, Mel.
Hit me.
Is that how you broke your nose?
One of the ways.
What type of shit? Wait a minute. Why would she kick you?
Maybe she ain't like being touched like that. Now it's like,
but all I'm gonna say,
reaction. Boom, hit you.
But I'm pretty sure she knew it. Like
69, I was kissing my way down her leg. I happened to hit the back of her knee, and she horsed me. The leg comes back and shoots straight out.
Damn.
Anyway, moving on.
It tickled. Oh,
right.
Really mess with your confidence after that.
Oh, that's instant. That's instant flaccid right there. Like,
yeah. Like, damn. It's okay. No, baby. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Nah, man. I'm gonna need some push-ups and something. I can't. Nah.
Yeah.
I got all over the bed.
When Stella started, we go in there with the ice cube. Yo, I'm trying here. It's something I saw in the movie. I thought that's what you're supposed to do. That shit cold.
Nothing worse than that stinking on hot wax. Go ahead and burn yourself if you want.
Tried that. Remember? Oh my God, the worst experience in my life.
You see, y'all got me thinking of that
everywhere.
Y'all got me thinking of that scene in Don't Be a Menace.
Right,
when he was doing the hot wax and all this stuff. And,
yeah.
And now you got me thinking about.
We gotta stop looking at TV. That's
Gary's movie. That's your movie, Gary.
That's fake, man. Like, what the hell? We're gonna burn the shit out.
Yeah,
that's sexy, right?
So now to keep walking it back, now that we've talked about that concept of sex, it's because this holds true back to the very beginning of this, whether you're in your teens and dating, in your 20s or your 30s, and that is making. So Gary used the word chase.
Yes.
Right? Us man not wanting to chase it. See, and I'm going to push back on that concept by throwing out this one. Isn't it learning about each other? And that was one of the things that your mama was talking about too, right? When I was chatting it up with her. And that is A woman needs to make a man work to learn her. You don't hand him the recipe. You make him learn that recipe. Because if he's going to take that time to learn the recipe, then he's taking the time to learn you, which means that he's forming a bond with you. But men, that holds true too. Don't get lured by that little wet spot. No. You make her work to learn you. You make her work to make you want to take her out on a date. You make her work to where you want her on your arm when you're out in public.
Now, this is where you go into the whole can you, and the answer is yes. Because this is how I get to my conclusion. You can do it. You just got to show her the type of man she's never had before. A man that actually give a shit and don't give a shit about
Which is going to come to my
But
last.
what do you say to this though? Because you have women who are basically trained from years and years and years that this is how a relationship is supposed to be. Now, I get the process of you show them, hey, this is the man I am, and this is how I believe you should be treated, so to speak, which is foreign to that woman.
Mm-hmm.
It may be it may be good at the time that you're showing them something different, so to speak. But if that woman it's in her DNA that the way a man showed me affection is by arguing and all this like toxic relationships, so to speak, regardless, whatever you do, it's a good chance that it's gonna like, yes, I appreciate this, but this isn't doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not where the next ingredient comes in, Wally.
Okay.
So we got another dash of ingredient we got to add into this cake. I think for us
So
to
wait. How many ingredients in it? Let's just get the math. How many ingredients?
We've got the learning each other.
Mm-hmm.
We've got truth and communication.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got this final ingredient to throw in.
And let me ask you this real quick, Mal, before you go into the final ingredient, because I want to attack the learning thing. Here's a scenario. I know you said, hey, don't tell this person like as far as learning, and let them learn your body and stuff like this, right? But does that still hold true for the people who say, you know what, we're going to hold on to sex when we get married? We're going to take this time to actually get to learn each other. Know we're compatible. Know everything about you. You know everything about me. Because you have people who they held off on sex to get married, and that was the gateway. And a lot of people that say they hold off on sex, it does work to marriage, and it winds up working for the better in their opinion. So if you cross that bridge doing that and you hold off on sex, wouldn't it make sense to teach that person about your body instead of having them figure it out, because they already took the time to learn you?
You do. The only body part you're not sharing before marriage and that is your penis and her vagina.
Yeah.
Wally, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Before I go back to, when you kiss Erica, do you kiss her the same way? Or do you have different ways of kissing her to relate different feelings to her?
Oh, God. Great question.
I don't kiss
Amazing question. Oh, shit. Damn.
Nah, but I'll say this though. There are
exactly, Gary.
Look. Yeah, let me keep it 100. Let me keep it 100.
Start kissing your wife. Are you serious? You better start kissing your wife, bro.
Man, relax.
Oh,
let me get for real. There are ways that I'll kiss to show that like this, and there's the way I'll kiss where it shows this or that. Like, so
you do kiss your wife, right?
There is different levels of
so you kiss your wife.
intimacy.
You're telling me you kiss your wife.
Never kiss and tell.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
You go in your experience. You don't. Wally said, "Mind yours." That's what that was.
Yeah.
Go with your experience. Stop using this example.
Not everybody's willing to spread their beans, bro.
So I mean, yeah, like if you're being naughty, you might nibble the woman's lip or nibble her ear. When you're being naughty, you'll kiss the neck. So there's more ways to explore. There's more parts of a woman's body than her hooters and her hole. Right?
Okay, yeah.
How you run your fingers up and down her back, how you run your fingers across her cheek or her arm. The body's more than 3 parts. I don't know if you know this, Wally, and I can ask Gary to pull us up a chart if you need.
I need the chart, damn it. I need to learn. No, I'm joking.
So yeah, the reality is that we do. Even if you're not having sex.
Lawrence, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Lawrence.
Lawrence in the building.
You are experiencing, you are learning each other's bodies. So the third ingredient. So let me get my thoughts back on this one, seeing as we're all over the map again. So we've got the trust and the communication, right? We have learning each other, like truly learning each other. We're going to use an age-old expression I think all of us know. Birds of a feather flock together. Everybody here who's in chat, who's been here more than once, knows my disposition on social media. But I'm going to tell you, we can bring it even closer to home. You are who you hang out with. So if you are trying to make a hoe a housewife, you've got to change her environment. It's not just enough to make her learn you and you learn her. It's not enough to just have trust, build and work trust and communication. You got to say, if you want to change your life, these
you can't stay a city girl. You cannot stay a city girl.
Yeah, that loser crew you hang with, that's got to. So they're going to help you check and balance your woman. Your woman's, or if vice versa, his friends from your group, the people that you trust and respect, if you trust them and respect them, let's hope they trust and respect you, they're going to help keep him in check and balance. They're not going to take your dude who steps out to a peeler bar. They're going to take him friggin' bowling. Right? If you're an alcoholic, I'm not going to take you to a bar. So if you're a hoe, man or a woman, I'm not going to take you and put you in environments and put you around people that are going to condone you being a hoe.
But my question now is, let's use the alcoholic reference.
Okay.
I can't be around the alcoholic 24/7. I can't be around the H 24/7. So even though I'm not taking you to these environments, at the end of the day, you still have to want to help yourself.
Yes.
So if you're not willing to help yourself, I in fact cannot change you.
Right.
I cannot transfer you or convert you to a housewife.
That's right.
Well, see, here's the thing. I look at it like this. Okay. I'm not the woman's not choosing me, I'm choosing her. Right? She lets me know that she's available. Okay. It's up to me to walk my behind over there and say hi. Right? So if she wants me to come to her, I will. But once I prove that I'm worth your time, now it's time for you to prove you're worth my relationship. Because I passed all your tests. You ain't passed none of mine yet.
Or let's say
Go ahead.
I was going to say, using me as the comments that I've made before. So I'm going to repeat things that I've said before. And that is, so when I walk up to this woman, look, I know your past. Not happy about it. I'm willing to be your man, but you got to want to be just my woman. Here are my expectations. I can help you. I can lead you to the water trough. You got to be the one who wants to drink. And I'm going to tell you, you balked too many times, and I'm just going to walk.
Right, because I'm
So I
probably dead
started it
inside
off
by
with
this point.
honesty
See, a
and
lot of
communication.
women don't understand that the way y'all dead inside, we dead inside too. It only take one of those times to hit our heart like that. You can't have a Facebook account. The
And
fact
I
that
was
you got one
Here-
is
yeah.
got you. That's a no, and it's because they've been ran through the ringer because they was in love with one of those women, right? And they'll never let that. They'll never take that experience again. The woman that you look in here, right? This woman here, in the picture that I showed, yeah, that's the woman that did him dirty. So you even resemble her. That's a no.
Well, and that's what I was
uh,
going to say though. You have to think about it. Each one of them can walk at any point. So if
Mhm.
each one of you can walk at any point, she has to be the one who wants to change and have the incentive to change. Because think about it.
And
You can
stay changed. Don't
and
forget
and
that
that's what I was
part.
going to say too. You got to stay changed because guess what? It's like you learning a new lifestyle. So if that's the life you want, you have to start presenting yourself in that manner. Remember how y'all said the friends that you keep are a representation of
And
you.
you telling me that what's wrong with my makeup? I do this to look good for myself. No, you don't. We're not stupid. No, you don't.
But guess
You
what?
do it for the right man. You just don't do it
here,
for me.
here is my
And we're not
thought
stupid.
process. Here's my thought process on things. I honestly believe your actions and all of this stuff can play a role in trying to get somebody to change, but I ultimately think it comes down to the way you look to that person. If I find this woman attractive as hell, where I'm like, yo, this person really fits the bill to the type of woman I'm attracted to. If that woman find the dude that she's attracted to, that he finds that fits the bill of what she's attracted to, you're going to put up with a lot more stuff. You're willing to change because in your mind, you don't want to lose that person because that is a huge upgrade for you look wise. And you're thinking to yourself, damn, will I be able, if I leave, will I be able to find this exact representation that I am 1,000% attracted to? Because you
See
get
now that
people who because you get people who
okay.
stay
So
in some jacked up situations
are you
just
saying is this a in this? So you're talking about a security thing, right?
yes, the
This is
security
an
can play a
insecure individual.
yes, an insecure individual, like they can be secure, but the bottom line is if you find like I'm secure with mine, right? But if I find a woman who's just like um drop dead gorgeous, because this happened to me, a woman that I find okay looking, who is really dedicated, where yo, I want to spend time with you, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel the same, this, that, and the third. I understand like the the things you bring to the table, yeah, they're cool and everything like that. But this other person I'm talking to, this person fits the bill. Like they have all the looks, the butt, the chest, all of the stuff that I'm highly into. So the same thing that this woman who is decent looking is wanting my time, that's the same thing I'm trying to put on this person who I find more attractive because I'm more attracted to that person. They fit the bill of what I'm looking for.
I have a
So
question
I
slash a
I
comment for
believe
you all.
looks play a major role in getting a person to switch up, or things of that nature.
I have a question slash comment for you all.
Uh-huh, I'm listening.
Do you want a 10 and cold McDonald's or a 5 and a hot roast beef meal?
Of course I'm going to want a 5, but we're visual creatures. We don't realize this.
Temporarily. We see something hot, or Woody gets stiff, but then we go home to sit down and have supper. Yeah,
Mal,
that
Mal,
heart, that
Mal,
5 minute hard on doesn't last as long in our
Mal.
heart as
The
that hot
point
roast beef sandwich.
the point I'm trying to make to you, right? I know somebody who basically is was a six-figure earner, right? The person they married was the type of woman who is like, yo, I want to stay home, take care of the kids, do all this, blah, blah, blah. That didn't work. So now the second go round, you know what he looked for? A woman that's actually working and doing XYZ. This is the
Why
point I'm
didn't it
trying to.
work?
This is the.
Why didn't it work?
I, as far as why didn't it, it's a lot of nuances on why didn't work.
Those nuances matter as to jumping ship and changing.
Okay.
The
Basic
nuances.
stuff. Think about it. Basic stuff was family isolation, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody, you want your village. If you're with somebody who wants the family, the kids want to be stay at home, but then you want to isolate everybody else, that plays a major role. Because guess what? You didn't fit the bill of you being incorporated in the family. You wanted what you wanted, and you wanted to segregate yourself. That plays a heartstring on people as they get older.
It does, but on top of that, the second go round of actually tying the knot, it was, yo, I want a person who actually work, who have something going for their self, yada yada. And I was like, yo, but here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to get to. When I asked them, why is it that, no, I asked them, if you have went through the experience that you went through before, would you have the same mentality that you have now this second go around? The answer was absolutely not. So what I'm saying is,
compare apples and pears.
No, I'm not trying to compare. I'm getting to a point. The last point I'm just trying to make is, in order for me to understand that I would rather have a 5 as opposed to a 10, I would have to go through the experiences of 10s, going through 10s, and it's not working out till I realize, hey, this isn't it. You get what I'm saying? So if I don't experience that, why would I? If I never experienced it, why would I think there's, the 5?
So
why would I even look at going through the 5 or whatever?
Apples to pears.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume that Erica's comment is in direct relation to this situation. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you have is that this dude wanted a trophy wife. He wanted her to himself and not share.
It was the opposite.
It was the opposite.
It was the opposite. She wanted
the opposite. She wanted him segregated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, because the information that's getting through is not. There's no conversation to break him out of the spell.
So what we've got here is lies and no communication versus truth and communication. She lied to him about what she wanted and what a stay-at-home relationship would look like. So, for instance, when I use the word a stay-at-home, I want a stay-at-home wife. I'm pretty sure all of you.
She didn't start off as a stay-at-home wife. She actually.
I'm pretty sure though, when I use the term stay-at-home wife, everybody in this panel gets the picture of Mal wanting a woman who takes care of the kids, cooking and cleaning the house, but it's also out doing shit in the community.
Yes.
So, so when I use the term stay-at-home wife, that's what I mean. But when I meet a woman and say, I'm looking for a stay-at-home wife, do I not have to be clear about that statement?
Correct.
Yes.
Because my vision of a stay-at-home wife could be different than hers.
Yes.
So the first problem is that he had a stay-at-home wife of a version. The problem was they didn't discuss what version he wanted versus what version she wanted.
Correct.
That's not correct, Erica. That's not correct, Erica.
Pardon me?
What I'm saying is
Erica is saying correct, and I'm saying no, that's not correct.
What I was saying is they both had two different ideas of what they wanted. Circumstances caused them.
Yes, they didn't. I get what what they're saying is when it's basically the whole play. Someone was playing on the other person's dream, right? I want to be a stay-at-home wife. Okay, I want to be a stay-at-home wife, and he's like, well, I want to stay-at-home wife, and okay, cool, and that's pretty much where the conversation went. They didn't really. You got to understand the dudes that these women are getting are too afraid to rock the boat for anything, right? They don't want to rock the boat.
This is what I will say. that's not what the circumstance is. And I know the individual watches the program, so I don't want to get into too much of the nuances because I don't want to offend nobody. But what I'm
Fair enough.
saying is, I don't want to get into their business like that. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, your assessment of the situation is totally wrong because there was transparency and the whole nine of all of that. Like, this is what I want. This is what I
So it
want.
was the bait and
It
switch.
wasn't. It wasn't. It
Yes.
wasn't even. I wouldn't even say, yeah, you can say it was a bait and switch that was involved in it too. You can say that was involved in it, but
Hmm.
um, as
So
far as
there's
the
a ton of
as
moving
as
parts.
far as the communication and all of that stuff, the communication was all entailed. But what
Hmm.
I can say is he found it much better to the second go round is to get somebody that was pretty much equally yoked. As
Yes.
far as,
See,
yeah,
And
that's
I'm
what.
not
yeah.
debating that. All I'm saying
Yeah.
is that when you've got bait and switch happening, when you've got half truths being told,
Hey,
when you,
constitutional.
what's that? Oh,
No, he's
Constitution.
still
when
not constitutional. Yeah.
you've got the bait and switch, when you've got half truths being told, to me, there's no such thing as a half truth. A half truth is a lie. Okay. So there's a lot of moving parts. So
Mhm.
yes, A happened. Yes, B happened, and he was happier with B. But you can't say that he's happier with B because of A if A was based on a lie.
It wasn't based off a lie, though. That's all I'm saying.
There
It
was a
wasn't
And
bait
that's
based
what I
off
was
a
gonna say.
lie.
switch.
It's you gotta have to think about it though. A lot of times people go into their circumstances based off of the information that's right there. You
Hmm.
stay in those
They're not asking the right questions too.
Right.
but you also stay in those relationships based off of, hey, we have to progress together. So the thing is, it's like, if are we progressing together to get closer, or are we progressing together and separating? That's the other issue. It's like people go, I want this relationship, I want this relationship, but it's like, okay,
Do you really?
are you listening to me sometimes? Are you doing the stuff that I need you to
They
do as a
don't
partner?
want to
And that's
listen.
the
And
problem. It's like you don't always know if that's what's happening. Think about it. You
mhm.
have people in relationships every day who think they are great. And then
Yes.
something happens and it blows up in their face and they're like,
Because they don't know, because the person is really not listening. They
or
think they are, but
Or,
they're not.
or,
Or it's
Yep.
not that
or
they're not
On top
the
of
listening.
person, or the person is telling the person, hey, XYZ, but it's not processing to that person also.
correct.
That
Because
can
that's what I
also
was going to
happen.
say. Listening and active listening are two
Processing,
different things.
explain.
And processing, yes. Because you could tell me the same thing. And if I'm not open to listening, or if I'm worried about doing some other stuff, guess what? It went through one ear, out the other, and I can't recall it back again.
I think, like you said, Erica, it's
Dang.
about communicating, right? And like we were saying before, because Mal, you went into a whole. Well, what about you? That's
Speak a
fine.
little bit louder.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
You
I
got
was
to get
saying,
her another mic.
can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you a little
What
bit.
I was
Yeah.
saying was, instead, it's like Mal was going into like these details and does Wally this. Where you about to be all extra detailed in our life and stuff? But when we're talking and you're saying we're having this conversation, it's in the room, out the room, every detail of our life. And even like years ago, we went into therapy and counseling and all this kind of stuff. You learn things as you go along. And one is you could be saying something, but need to know that the one that you're speaking to, and we have to do that. What did you hear me say? What did that mean to you? Because at the end of the day, you don't want any confusion. I didn't say that. Well, what did you say? Well, I meant it this way, and get clarity on it. So then a couple of years down the road, or 10 years down, whatever the case, oh, well, you told me this. Oh, well, I thought you meant that. No, I meant this. Well, you didn't clarify that. And we're too afraid sometimes to ask the question, or vice versa. You're too afraid to hear the truth. So then, who, like you said, Mal, there's half truths. No, let's just put it out on the table. What did you want? What was your expectation? Or, and sometimes we put these expectations out, and not really being fair to the other party, whether they can fulfill that expectation or not. That's across the board. You get into it one way, and yes, we change and we're supposed to evolve and stuff like that. But that's why you always bring it back to the table. No, we need to come back and go over these terms again. Well, this is what we said then. Okay, well, that was then. This is where we are. And be able to have that conversation and not worry about, oh, well, and then I'm not going to say the terminology you use, Gary, but getting in your feelings about stuff, and not being able to accept the real truth about what it is that was said, so that it can never be a thing that's coming left field, like, oh, well, I didn't know. Yes, you did, because we did discuss this, you know, so we had to be able to talk about it.
And it doesn't matter if it takes hours, days, weeks, months, or years. This conversation is not over because you keep doing it.
And
Correct.
here's another
I do
thing too,
not
like
remember our Toya and I. We've had this. It was such a very tough process to break free of those restraints of I'm not. I refuse, I refuse, I refuse. You're going to listen, you're going to listen. You're not going to talk to me, you're not going to talk. All that to get to the point where I don't want to leave you, but I don't have to be with you.
Correct.
And that's the bottom line. You're never ever really done chasing each other. It
mhm.
goes on forever.
Wow, he's gonna say
Uh,
something.
and there's another thing that I was gonna say too, as far as
Hold on,
the
Wally. Miss Lamb was going to say something.
And Wiley was going to say
oh
something.
Oh,
I was
hold
saying
super
Wally
chat
was going to say something constitutional.
super chat.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Go and get a mic, brother. Get it.
This is what I was gonna say too, as far as the communication goes too, and like half truths and stuff like this. Sometimes, like Miss Lamb said, you could have a conversation about something, and you think the person you're having the conversation with, they perceive it one way, but they actually don't perceive it that way. It isn't like, because for instance, I can have a let's just say I have a conversation with Erica, right? And when we have this conversation, it's perceived. I know where she's coming from, but but like the way she's coming at me, I perceive it one way, but that's not what she's really saying. So now, if I go to my homeboy and I'm like, "Yo, me and Erica was having issues. She said this. We spoke about it. Blah, blah, blah. This is how I perceived it." He could be
oh,
like,
Wally
"Well,
broke a rule.
you do understand that she kind of could have meant it this way, right?" And the
Yes,
whole
and
time I'm thinking,
that's where community comes into play,
yes,
right? That's where your
but
brothers come into play, right? And
No,
exactly. But
no,
no, are you
no.
serious?
Wally
Are you
just
kidding
broke
me?
a major, major rule.
Really?
really,
What rule is
Absolutely.
that?
You don't air your laundry out with your friends about your spouse. Never, ever, ever. That is how you create a rift between you and your spouse, between your spouse and that friend. And believe me, it starts as a crack and turns into a crevice very quickly. Very quickly. You go to your
I don't
Mel,
buddy.
agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Mel,
I don't
I'm
agree
gonna say, I'm
whatsoever.
gonna tell you this. Listen,
I don't agree.
there was nothing else I could have done
Yep.
but to get counseling. If I did not get counseling, I would have left my wife. I
So
needed counseling
I'm
and
gonna
I
put
couldn't pay
I'm
for
gonna
it.
put where
I
my
was
money where
broke.
my mouth. Do you want me to put my money where my mouth is?
Good.
Hmm.
You
So you
can.
boys, so you guys sitting up here,
Hmm.
Wally to Erica, Gary to Toya, and I don't want you to actually answer because then I'm gonna get in a bunch of trouble. But
I'm
I
not going to answer. I'm letting you know
no
that
no
right
no.
now, Mal.
This is a question for
You
Gary
talk
and
about you.
Wally.
Hmm.
You can't tell me that there's not cases where your significant other hasn't gone to a friend and talked about your personal life to them, and now you want nothing to do with that person.
No.
And that when you've
No,
said you don't want nothing to
No.
do with that
because
person,
No.
we trust our
No.
women's
Yep.
judgment. Look, I
And
trust that my wife is going to be with heavenly counsel. That's why I married her, to trust her. If she's talking to someone about me, she might be getting some godly counsel for me. There might be things that she's doing and she's like, I don't know why this man is acting like this, and she goes talk to someone. That person
hmm
says this is why, and now because I
it
don't
clicks.
know her language, she doesn't know mine, right? And we trying to communicate with one another, and we just keep missing. She goes to somebody else, and that found out, oh, okay, wait a
It
minute, I went
resonates
the
better.
same thing with my husband, or
Hmm.
that, right, and this is what they did. So these councils right here, yes, although they're, I understand where you're coming from, Mel. It's hurtful to the other person. I know.
That's not what
I've
I'm
been
saying.
there. No.
That's not what
Okay.
I'm saying.
So what are you saying?
Yeah,
Thank you.
because
By talking to that other person, you start feeling uncomfortable with that other person. You stop wanting to interact with that
No, I
other
don't.
person.
no, I don't. And that you're assuming this. Go ahead.
And
Go
what?
ahead.
Okay, Wally. First off, why am I assuming this?
Why?
Because did you have that same
Thousands of
issue?
court
Because you
Because you
probably
probably
cases,
had something a
because you
similar
probably
issue.
had this experience or similar issue or something.
thousands of affidavits where this comes up, thousands of instances through counseling stuff where this comes up. So yes, what the description you're giving is plausible, but it's not typical. Typical is your partner starts talking to that other person. You start feeling uncomfortable around that other person because you don't know what's being said. You don't know how they think about you now. So now you look at your partner and say, I'm really not comfortable hanging out with that person anymore. You're not going to say why, but you stop feeling comfortable because that other person might be shit talking you, telling your spouse, well, you could do better, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Then,
After Wally, I'm gonna jump in on this.
Okay,
Go ahead,
okay.
Wally. No, go ahead,
then
Wally.
then it turns into I don't want this person as our life because I think they're counseling you poorly, and it's a dark road you start going down, and it happens constantly. Yes, seeking outside counsel. So where I'm going to use Gary's example is he goes to Toya, says, I got this thing, I need to talk, and Toya looks at you and says, well, maybe you should seek other counsel. Well, what have you just gotten?
A warning.
Permission and understanding to go out and seek other counsel. But to just start airing your dirty laundry with another person that is a friend or possibly a family member, more often than not, will create dissension more than anything. All right.
The problem I have with what you're saying is I understand where you're coming from, but you also have to understand whether it's an outlier or not. If that's what is working in my situation, you can't turn around and say, well, that's a message for disaster, because what works for everybody else don't works in my situation. So if I'm literally telling you, Mal, I'm happy with with this situation, then in return it's all right, that works for you, cool. Because when you start hammering in, this is how I see things to that person, you now can turn around and mess up a happy situation because things work for that couple in that sense, and now you throw a monkey wrench because you have a tunnel vision of this is how it should be. If
Okay.
I'm talking to Gary and Gary is telling me, yo, this is how I handle things with Toya, blase blah, this, that, and the third, it works for me, and I disagree with it, I'm like, yo, that works for you, brother, that's what's up, I keep it there. But if I start now sitting up here throwing in little things in his mind, like, well, typically this isn't the case, and this, that, and the third, and now he starts saturating that and brings that into his happy situation, that can bring dysfunctionality in his situation based off your perspective of how you're viewing things, and that might not be conducive for his situation.
Yeah.
So in other words, the minute Gary said my situation works, all right, fine, that's cool,
Yeah.
that's how it
Um,
works for you, that's how, all good.
I'm gonna jump in. I agree. Mal, I get where you're coming from experience, right? So I'm not saying that you're off with what you're talking about, because me, I don't trust,
Let me just
like,
say that too, Miss Lamb. I'm not
yeah,
saying what he's saying is wrong. I
yeah,
agree
yeah, I
with him
get you.
100%. You know, I agree. Go
And
ahead.
I wanted to say that with Wally, you just said literally, actually, Gary and I were doing a taping something else, and you literally said exactly what this is a long time ago, but the reverend that married us, he said those words: what works for them may not work for you. What works for you may not work for them. You do what works in your house. You do what work. You know what I mean? And let that work for you, etc., etc. Um, so I'm not Toya's voice. Oh, love you too. So I'm not disagreeing with that. Like Gary said, it depends on you and your relationship. Everybody got their own thing. Mal, in your experience, that might have been your experience. I know you've had your experiences, plural, right? And so maybe that was the situation in your experience. What is good for the goose may or may not be good for the gander. You do what works for you and in your situation. So aside from that, I'm not going to say that I completely disagree. I agree with Gary what he was saying. It depends. He knows my feeling about it. Okay. And like I said, it's been experienced that way. So I'm not saying that you're wrong. This was years ago, but and we are very clear on it. And I'm not the type of woman that I'm not a phone wife. You ain't gonna find me running. That ain't my thing. So it depends on your relationship and vice versa, what the understanding is in your relationship, who they're going to go out to and speak to, someone else that might give them a perspective because it's needed or whatever. So I kind of get, I get both opinions about it. Again, what works for you may not work for the other. What you've seen in other situations, that was their um, marriage and relationship, that was that outcome. And again, maybe they don't have the same communication that the next marriage and relationship has. Maybe they don't have the same understanding that the next marriage and relationship has. So you can't equate everything across the board because everybody is not the same and everybody's relationship is not the same.
Now, let me say this in her as a defense. He is going on court cases and things of that
Yes,
nature.
yes, yeah. Get
So
it,
he's got
100%.
data
Well,
that
Yeah.
and
whatever,
I got
but
two other
there's a
things
lot of
that
variables in those things, and it's like I can only grade from my experience and with it. So yes, that might have been, but I've also been in men teams where I witness how they talk about their wives and how they get counsel for when they talk about their wives. So I see the reason for counsel. It's not supposed to get back out. It's a
Correct.
circle of men that's trusting one another and trusting each other. It's a brotherhood. There's other brotherhoods where you are in like get rid of her, and you got those too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The only thing, Mal, I'm gonna let you go, Mal. The only thing I'm gonna say, only 2 seconds, 2 seconds. The only thing I'm gonna say is, Mal, I agree with you 100%. The only thing I was getting at is if Gary is telling me this works for his situation, I'm not gonna say, well, Gary, you're doing it wrong because typically XYZ. If Gary comes to me with a
I'm going
problem
to
on
cover that, Wally. Actually,
okay,
I've got
okay,
two
go ahead.
comments. I'm going to cover that,
Go
right?
ahead. Go ahead.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is this repeat thing, and I understand the
Mhm.
sentiment, and that is what works for you doesn't necessarily blah 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 blah. And the reason why I'm blah blah blahing it is because would you tell somebody to go out and sleep around when their sex life sucks in their relationship?
no,
No.
So there is such thing as bad advice,
yes,
but that advice has worked for somebody.
yeah, it
So,
has, and
Yeah.
that
so
was.
even
But
though,
see,
hold on, so even though there's the advice can work, even though a piece of advice has worked for somebody, we still have to work off the law of averages when having a conversation, which brings me to point number two. How you give advice or how you give counsel to another person. When, for instance, most people in this panel know when I talk with them about stuff, when we're talking in the back or offline or what have you, I put the concept and the cards on the table and say, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this. This is how this has worked out and how I've seen it work out. This is how I've seen this. This is the cause and consequence. So I put all the cards on the table and then sit back and say, no, I'm here to support your choice. That's how you counsel. To give good counsel is not to tell somebody how to do something, but to put choices, tell them the pros and the cons of those choices, and then sit back and say, now I'm here as your friend to support your choice.
Right, but you now know the facts.
Right.
Perfect. Now I
So
love it.
you've got to put the whole of it together.
Right. So you do, and that's
Now,
why I said,
now,
now keep in mind, this is why I said godly counsel. I wasn't running around saying like, da 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 da. No, I was saying you get godly counsel. You don't get reckless counsel. You got to get godly counsel, and that's the counsel. Those are the brothers that I'm talking to. People who are committed to one another. They're not going to
Right.
spew bad advice. If
yes.
anything, they'll give you advice from their life and tell you what not to do. You know what I'm
Dude,
saying?
this is
So
what I
And
did.
and
This
here
is
and
what
here
I
here's
say
here
what you want.
here's another aspect too. Gary, I'm pretty sure you understand if Toya was to go to somebody to speak about anything and anything y'all going through, you know the people she keep in her camp are in good faith. Like they're not gonna give her terrible advice or
they're not
whatever.
going to give
And
it
I'm
back. They're
pretty sure
all wives.
and that's the
They,
way it
yes,
is
but
for
yes.
me. That's the way it is for me. Who I keep in my circle, they're gonna give good advice. Who she keep in her circle, they're gonna give good advice. So we have that understanding on
You
that.
know,
So
that's amazing because Toy and I we literally just had this conversation relative like last month or two where we was discussing a couple of my friends, my best friends, and how I used to talk with them and stuff like that, and how she was fearful when I went to hang out with them because of
mhm.
that, flock together stuff. And it was like a weight off her shoulder when I was talking to her. I said, have I ever did anything just because those dudes do that? And she had to say, well, no. I was like, you don't have to worry about that. That part is covered. All that other stuff that I was doing, I was trying to figure you out. That's different. That's just trying to, okay, they say this might work. So you take this pill and this might all, that might work. Because I've been talking to you and I don't want to hit you upside the head with a paper because I don't want to do you like that. But I actually did hit her upside the head with a paper. I did that once. I didn't know what else to do, so I grabbed the paper and I said, "Yo, you should have saw the look on her face." She was like, "No, this nigga didn't just hit me on my head with a paper."
I'm about to say them eyes probably was
It was
zagging
I
like
was
like
it was
like,
like it
I
was
Dracula
didn't
like
know
the
20
what to
times
do.
over
it
too.
was like the exorcism. Her head started spinning.
No,
Like hold on.
when I listen, I'm telling you, yo,
Like,
we've
do
had
my name look
time,
like Fido to you? What you
right?
saying?
So
But
hold on, because before we get too far away, I've got a kickback on this one a little bit because I really like
Black
what
sheepdog.
Wally said. I really like what Wally said, but I don't think Wally thought through what he said in its entirety. Wally trusts Erica. Gary trusts Toya. So here's my question to Erica and Toya. How often are you two engaged on social media?
To be honest, not much. I play
Yeah,
games.
Wally already sees this hallway, don't he?
I'm
Yeah.
like, I play games off of social media sometimes, but I'm not addicted to my phone for media. I'm addicted to my phone to play video games.
Let me get it out
So
the
my
way now,
outlet is
real
different.
quick. Let me get it out the way now, real quick. That damn Mal. That damn Mal.
I'm gonna say this.
I don't know what
Um,
happened. I was lost. Wait, what happened?
where were you? You
I
was
was
I
on
in
know,
Wawa.
mute.
right?
I was trying.
He
I
was in
was
Wawa Land for
no,
a second.
seriously. No, I was trying to fix the pictures. I was like, I don't like it like this no more. Let me switch it up.
He's
Yo,
looking right at the screen
I
and
know
saying what
exactly,
happened.
right? Looking engaging as a mother, like, okay.
This is entertaining as hell. What you mean? I'm sitting here. I'm enjoying the show. I'm glad I'm a part of it. Are you serious?
But yeah,
Mal
go ahead, Miss
Mal
Love.
asked how engaged are Erica and I on social media. And I'll reserve this for, general reasons because Mal, you be asking stuff and I don't have to answer nothing you ask. Let me say that. Let me just say that. Um I'm on social media and I'm able to balance my life. That's how I'm gonna answer your question, maladjusted.
Okay. No, that works out perfectly.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, and the hallway I was leading Mr. Wally down is that statement holds true when you have a healthy family unit. But now we got women who spend most of their free time where?
Social
looking and
media.
getting their kicks on social media.
So I'm gonna jump in because I knew that's where you were going. Yeah, so Mal, and I'm jumping in because I knew that that's what you were building up to. If you haven't
Mhm.
noticed, I'm married to Gary Lamb, so it's always like a, it's a what's it
It's a
called?
bait
What
and
kind of
switch all
question?
the
A bait
time.
and them questions. So I'm looking at you like, don't ask me nothing, Mal. Um,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
ask yourself, don't
He
ask me nothing.
sets you up. Yeah.
It's always like that. But I get what you're saying, and that was the whole point of the premiere and this whole we bring it up many times. A lot of these women these days, they live vicariously through these strangers that they do not know, or if they know, but then they put these uh people they're not what they post to be. Just because you post it doesn't mean it's real life and all of that. I get the point you're trying to make. Don't ask me nothing else, man.
Well, and like I said, it was
Yeah,
just
the thing is, nah, shut up, man. Hold on, give me a second. You know, I haven't seen that woman like that in a long time because I avoid that woman a lot. I haven't. I've to see her on another dog. I'm like, this is entertaining
well, I
because
told
Already.
I'm
You
like,
said it
well, I
ain't
told
you. It
I'm
Grandma
ain't
like,
you.
Mary to
Yes.
ask the question.
I was like, damn, my wife is no slouch, baby. I built a strong woman. Boy, goddamn it, shit.
But at least I got
Because
the
I know
cojones
how
to
to
ask
deal
the
with you,
question.
Mal. Because
That's
I know
true.
how to
That's
deal with
true.
you.
Yo, wow, you be sitting here like, yo, motherfucker. Oh, she got it.
Yeah.
Because I'm married to Gary. I'm like, I know you set
But
me
see,
up
that's
for
what I'm
something. I
saying.
knew
It's
where you
like,
were going with it.
No, it
what I'm
was
saying
Wally
is
I
that
was setting up.
no, it doesn't matter who you were setting up. She saw
We,
it,
we, we saw it.
right? She played
We
test.
saw
She's
Yeah.
like,
that in.
I
We
see
saw
where you
that.
going.
That's why I said that
That's
damn Mal.
a good show. Boy, I can't wait to talk to you later. Oh, this is gonna be a great conversation.
Like I said, somebody's got to ask the question. Somebody's got to put this out. Because if this questions aren't asked and answered honestly out here, if we're not willing to do it, how are we willing to, or how do we expect our chat to be willing to follow? We don't lead, they don't follow.
That's true.
Yeah. Yep.
If we don't call this out, we don't call a spade, then we're no better. We're
That's
telling
where,
half truths. And to me, what's a half truth? Same thing as a lie.
and that's why I have you up here. You're gonna pull every ounce of it out. So, because we're gonna miss things, right? You fill in the
Yep.
blanks.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a difficult ride. I will not say that it's not a difficult ride, but it is a ride that we do need to take nonetheless. So I give you floor because I know you want to pull certain conversations out of us that might be uncomfortable, and we gotta just like outthink your ass before we let a bone fall out and say something stupid because you're pulling us on the edge, and it's not like we've never been on it, and we can handle the edge. We've been married. We've tested each other so hard that we can handle the edge. Uh, you say this to people that's very untrained on being on the edge. That you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Divorce.
Yep.
They will not be able to handle that level of argument scrutiny. It's too much.
Hmm.
You're
But you
you're
also,
now touching their gospel,
well,
and
and
you
I was
can't
going to say
touch
that
their
too.
gospel.
You also have to think about it. By having these conversations, you know you've been tried, true, tested,
Hmm.
because you are not going to have them conversations if you were not tested at one
You won't
point or
have the
another.
courage to. You'll be too
And
Yep.
insecure about it.
correct, you would not have the courage because think about it. It is easy to go, all right, let me go file these papers. It is not easy to choose to commit to somebody. It is not easy.
No.
But if you're both are making the same commitment, it gets a little bit easier because you got somebody there with you.
I got something. That's what the contract is. I got something, right?
Correct.
But here's the thing, and this is where a lot of men screw this up. 2 years is not enough time
No.
to vet a woman. You got to vet her for a pretty good amount of time. And when she's 34, she's not giving you that time. She has to do this quickly so she can get that kid out of the way. She don't give you the time for you to absolutely vet her. She's pushing you for it. And you got a lot of dudes that can be easily pushed. So when they find that dude that can be pushed, they hold on to him until they get him to that finish line. And now she don't care. She done did the last checklist check off in her list. She don't care. She got what she wanted, and the guy is duped because he don't know. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of good guys, but the reverse is also true. But this is talking about women. This is not really talking about the men part. It's supposed to be for the women. Can we do this with the women? And with everything we just said, I think it's possible. But that woman must be ready. That man, because it's not just a housewife, it's the woman, the man too. There's a male version to this stuff, guys. There's a nasty male version. And I can't wait to trickle you guys in bit by bit, little by little, with all that you can't stand women stuff. Yeah. Y'all licking the hell out the phone, right? I got a message for your ass. Trust me, it's coming. But it's like you get to that point where you got to understand she has to be wanting you. You have to be it for her. If she's not, if he's not, if you're not it for her, I don't care what you do. You ain't it. If she find it, she ghost.
And you know what? That's exactly where it is, because you have to think about it. People will date people because they look good on paper. People marry people, and the paper don't have to look all nice and pretty and tied in a bow, because it's everything. It's the emotions. It's it's that person's character. It's the way that person makes you. It don't matter. It may not look great on paper, but those are the relationships that you're like, yo, those led to marriage, because there was nothing pushing it to go anyplace else. It was, hey, we doing this together? Yes? No? Okay. If we both said yes, then that's when you go, all right, we can weather the storm. We can do anything just as long as we got each other. And that's the problem. It's you get these people who like the idea of being married, like the idea of being a housewife, but did you really figure out what that entails? Because people don't always get that. A housewife to me is one of the hardest jobs in the world. But
Amen.
But that person has to want to be that housewife, because you get tons of career-driven people go, all right, once I'm done with my career, I want to be a housewife, and then they get into it and they're like, this is not what I thought it was. And then it's like, no, but this is what you said you wanted.
They thought they can do it with a snitch. Oh, I'll be an easy housewife. That'd be fun. And then they realize all the real work they got to do. You see, you got
But
secretaries to do your errands when you in a
Correct.
corporate. You have all kinds of executives and people that can come and take whatever and do this, that, and the third. When you a housewife, you are the executive. You
I'm gonna
are
say
the
you
freaking
everything. You the executive.
you everything.
You the secretary. You the doctor. You the
You
lawyer. You're
everything.
everything. And that's the
Mhm.
thing. People don't always get it. You asked for this role, and then you decided to flake out. No, no, no. I gave you what you wanted. I did my end of the bargain. My end of the bargain was make sure the lights turned on, make sure you had a roof over your head, make sure that I could work my 12 to 20, my 12 to 24 hours. And I'm gonna say 12 to 24 because think about it. People got to take them road trips because you want that six-figure earner, or you want that person who's going to work the second job to make sure that everything's taken care of. But on the flip side is you also took the fact that you by yourself 80% of the time now. People don't always get that. So then you get the housewife that
You
get
ain't
bored.
from Light Patriot on Rumble. How you doing?
They paint the sunshine and never the rain.
Correct.
yeah,
It's
Because
like you
I
were
will tell
saying.
anybody,
Yeah.
I enjoy being a housewife. I also like working.
Yeah.
People don't always want to burn the candle on both ends. I chose that life. So because I chose that life, guess what? I be dumb tired and don't care. Because that's what I wanted to do. Nobody didn't force me into that. Because that's the problem. When you make
Right.
those conscious decisions,
You
you know what you're
chose
making
to
those
do it.
decisions for.
Listen, you chose to do it. And that's what I'm saying. Stop chasing women.
Correct.
Women who want to be housewives will find you. Okay? They're looking for a husband, not something to be on some. They're not trying to be on nobody jet. They ain't trying to be no kind of weird woman. You got women out there busting their ass just so they can be a career warner. That's what they want to do. But they have that biological ick, and they need somebody to take care of that. These dudes
Now,
ain't being dumb enough to fall for it up in that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't stupid, but they'll get somebody down there and do it.
now
They'll grab one of us up.
here's the ugly truth about the situation, though, because you said, Gary, you got to take at least minimum 2 years to vet somebody. The problem is when the person who's living that H life, those years go quickly. So yes, when you get to
Very.
that age, where it's like, look, I'm trying to find somebody and get them to wife me up real quick, you're not trying to hear waiting for the 2 years. So you got to accept the fact if you're going to make that choice of living the H life, you got to understand what comes with that territory. So when you're looking to push somebody, hey, I'm not waiting these 2 years, that's going to be a red flag.
Right. But
That's
that
going to
comes
make
down to the honesty, right?
yes,
No half
yes,
truths, no nothing. Let's communicate
yes,
and be absolutely honest.
yes.
That's what I was gonna say about that conversations with, not to bring up because I don't want nobody to be offended with the situation, but this is a perfect example of that where you were sharing before, Wally and Erica. That's the whole. It's we gonna have to sit here at this table, have this conversation, and let's get real clear on what you expect and what I expect. Let's get real clear on it and let the chips fall where they may. We're gonna have to have this conversation, and we're gonna have to be real clear on what you expect and what I expect. They can't be no, oh well, I thought you said no, no, no. You didn't think nothing because we got real clear on what we were gonna do once we jumped that broom or whatever we was planning. We got real clear on that. So it's no surprise later on and no bait and switch and no. And I know many women, oh no, I'm married now. Like where does Dr. Jekyll
Yo,
come
I
from?
sit. Listen,
Hold on. Right.
Toya,
Right.
Toya. The woman did it in front of everybody. She said, "I's married now." Soon as she said that, I was like, "Oh shit!"
But you
Ooh.
know what? You have people that do that, and that is the worst thing to me. Being a wife,
Oh
I
my
hate
god.
that. I hate that with the passion because my thing is you put in a year, you put in 3 years, you put in 5 years. Now that you married, you just gonna flip. No, you was lying the whole time. Because
Okay,
if you had to get to that point, it was a game to you. Because to
but it was
me,
a game to the
marriage is
dude
not a
too.
game.
But it was a game to the dude too. There's no dude. There's no way a woman is going to play the game for 2, 3, 4 years. There's no way.
You don't know the women we know.
There's
They will play
They
the
will play it.
game for decades.
there's going to be flags. If you're looking, there's going to be flags.
You right.
But Mal,
Wait a minute.
if
Hold
I'm
on, Mel. Hold on, start. You right, Mel. There are flags. The problem is that's what the man wants. He wants those flags. He
Or that's what
needs
he
to
was
have
used
that.
to. Or that's what he grew up around. That's what
But
he's
once they,
conditioned to.
and
or
this is why you got hold
or
on, this is why you got a lot of men that say she changed. Once I made her my main, she changed. Yeah, because that's the title she wanted. She wanted to move up in the rank. That's her mentality.
All
and
right.
here's another angle too, though. If
Wally.
that man is about his business, working, do what he got to do, you're not worried about, what is she out doing, whatever this, that, and the third. If she's not showing the signs, if the signs aren't right there in your face.
Unless he's doing it for her attention,
All right,
which
Gary.
is a lot of men. They do that. They use
Yeah.
money. They think that's that. Okay, you do, and they're doing that.
Gary. All right. Is everybody ready for this?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Excuses. That's what I'm hearing. And I want to, because I want to start at the
Excuses
beginning.
of what?
Hold on. I'm going to
Explain.
start at the beginning and work my way forward on here. If I want a wife, am I going to hang out with a bunch of single dude players?
No, you shouldn't.
Who am I
No.
going to be hanging out with? If I
You want to hang out with the other married men to see what it entails to be a husband.
so
Unless
my
wait,
further,
wait.
Unless
'cause
you
I'm
don't have
telling
that
you,
example around you.
let me say this. I want to be around the right husbands, not just husbands, because I was around just husbands. They're not the right husbands.
Okay, which goes back to the starting point in this conversation for me comes to the birds of the feather. I have to surround myself with the type of people that I want to be. So if I want to be a good married man and have the housewife type that I want, I have to find the right men with that type of housewife, and that's who I got to surround myself with. So that woman that wants to be wifed, is that the term, to be wifed?
Yeah.
So that type of woman that we're talking about that wants to be wifed, it's not just me vetting her. Who else is vetting her?
The friends, his friends that she about to be around, because that's the problem.
And they're
A
what?
lot of times they, you got to introduce them to everybody that's going to be in that same circle. Because guess what? I guarantee them wives will pick that out faster than the husbands will.
Quicker
Because
than
they
quick.
going to be the
That's
ones
why.
that
And
got to be
wait a
around.
minute. But wait a
that's where
minute.
the signs come into play, right? Because we constantly tell people if she's trying to isolate you, there's a reason.
Correct.
But here's a question for you, ladies and gentlemen. In today's time, right? Especially men that are looking to be married and everything like that. How many of them actually hang around with a group of friends like that? Gary, do you
They
hang
don't.
around with a group of males? Mal, do you hang around a group of males? I certainly don't
Yes,
hang around a group of males. You hang around a group of males
I
on
do.
a regular?
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
biker.
He's a
Okay.
biker. He
I
got
don't.
he got his community.
Yeah, I don't. And a lot of
Nor do
men, I
I,
think it
because most of the men that is around me are hoes.
I have my
so
church community dudes that I hang out with once a week.
okay.
I have my tech geeks that we go out and talk shop, whether it's online like the way we talk, or we go out and do stuff. I have the guys that I ride with, so we work on the bikes together and so on and so forth. I have multiple communities in my life to show me what it is to be a man, to show me what it is to be a married man. Oh, Toy's trying to say something. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, but Mal, that's not common for most men. They might have a
Anymore.
couple dudes that they are cool with.
Mm-hmm.
You get up after work, you get up every once in a while, everybody's busy. But with the whole community of men that you have, that's not very common with a lot of
So
men.
that makes
Yeah,
you an
most men don't
outlier,
have that
Gary. I
ability.
mean,
Yeah.
not Gary.
But
That
I
makes you
admit
an
that.
outlier.
Hold on. I am the outlier. And I had to work very, very hard to be that outlier. I had to reach out to the dudes at my church and say, all right, y'all, we need to get together once a week and just have guy time. So once a week, we go to the church and hang out at the church and just shoot hoops or what have you, right? I had to push for that. I had to grab some of these men by the you know what and drag them in there to show them you need guy time. It's good
You
for
know
you
that's
and
a
it's good for your family.
But he's
that's
right
assault,
though.
right?
That is assault. But like, you're not supposed to put your hands on me. But
I know.
but real talk, he's right. Because we
Yeah.
don't want to do shit. Like
Correct.
I don't want to. I done worked so hard. I don't want to go
Yes.
nowhere. I just want to
Yes.
stay
Haven't I
home.
been saying for
Yes.
months on this stream, rebuilding our neighborhoods and our communities? You're
And
right.
and,
This
and you're
doesn't
right.
exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore because we let it slip away. Fine.
Yes.
But then
Yes.
now what do we got to do?
You got to
Gotta
rebuild
start
it.
doing it.
You're right. You're right. And that's a failure on us. That's definitely a failure on us.
The
Yeah.
house
You're right.
fell down. It's raining. Do you want to stand outside and cry? Or are we going to just get our tools done and get it rebuilt?
Hey,
Get it
how you doing?
rebuilt.
My name's Gary. Looks like you need some help here.
Yes.
But you know what? This is exactly what you're saying. This is what women that used to be housewives and stay home do. The problem now is when you don't have those stay-at-home people, they can't introduce you to the next husband next door. Because you know how many people back in the day, my parents were like, hey, we're doing baseball, and these are the other baseball parents, and we're going to
Erica,
get the
you
kids
getting
together.
deja vu?
Say it again.
You
The
getting a
other
little
baseball
deja vu?
parent.
But yeah, but that's the thing though. I
Didn't we
know.
already say this? Me and you
Correct.
had this
We've said that
conversation?
because we made sure that we were giving ourselves that extra community. I do that. That's why I became involved with the kids' school. That's why I became, that's why I am the soccer mom and the gymnastics mom and go to the YMCA. I do that because guess what? I like to talk to people. I hated when I was just home and couldn't do nothing. You go on now, the handful of time that I am on social media, guess what? I'm in different mom groups. I did that
Let,
because guess what? I was finding cooking recipes that, you know, out of cheap stuff that was already in the house. I did that just because of that. I joined the community where we live, got a Facebook group. Well, guess what? I joined it right before we moved in because I wanted to know all of the events that were going around. I like
let,
taking the kids to free stuff because I don't like I'm gonna spend some money for them to do activities, but I like throwing some of that free stuff in too. Well, guess what? I only find out about that stuff because somebody done posted it. Or you go over to the community center and pick up the little flyers. I get the little paper, the little books at the supermarket. Well, guess what? I know I'm not the only one to do it because I run into the same batches of people in the community. I'm gonna go to the library for free because they doing Disney movies this night. Well, guess what? I could do the Disney
Things
movies at the house,
don't
but
just
guess what?
happen.
But at least it gives me a couple more people to say, "Hey, how you doing? I done ran into you in the supermarket. You here too? Oh, that's awesome. You got 4 kids? Okay." But that's the problem. People don't. They make time for the
let,
stuff that they want to do.
let me ask this. Let me ask, especially, this is really a question for Gary. All right. So
Mhm.
Gary, we understand like growing up pretty much when we'll say like in the hood and stuff like this, right? And
Yeah.
Mal, I could understand you say you live in the hood too and everything like that. But my question is this: we know growing up in the hood is pretty much mind your business, whatever, keep your head low, work, do what you got to do, take care of your family and everything like that. Cool. So
Whoa.
even move
Is it
even
cool?
huh? No, I'm just saying
It's
cool
not
as
cool,
in
but that's
I'm
what
I'm saying
the
that's the
rhetoric was for.
terminology of
No, no, yo. When somebody
that's the
says
terminology
cool,
of saying
if
cool.
that's what
That's
I
the
gotta
end of
do,
that.
that's what I gotta do. There's nothing I can do to stop it because any other way I get smoked. So I
Is
gotta
that
keep it.
true?
Um, good question. A lot of people that I know say that it is. Um, and we don't really. Here's the thing. It got me out. That's all I can say. It just got me out. So go ahead, Wally.
Yeah, yeah. So now getting out of the hood, right? When you move into nicer communities and you see people saying hi, whatever, and all this, it's foreign to you. Even it's foreign to you, right?
Mhm.
So
He's doing that
breaking
because that happened to us. I'm like, what?
yes.
We got
So
the wave.
when it comes to breaking out of that, it's kind of hard. And I don't know about
You
everybody
see
else's.
why I say hi to everybody the way I do?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do it the
yeah,
same way. Hi, my name is
yeah,
Gary. Please don't hurt me. That's
yeah,
how I say it because I've had to be this dude my entire life so I can get out of the hood because they used to take tack on the highs. So it's like you, bruh, you were daggone right. Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
It's kind
Keep
of
preaching, bro. Preach,
it's
preach.
hard to
God,
break out of
God,
there. Now
stand up,
I get the
bond
point
up.
now of saying build the communities and everything like that, but I don't know what everybody's financial situation is. But after pulling a 12, 13-hour shift, I just want to relax.
I only had to pull shit once. I'll give you an example as an answer and an anecdote to what you're saying. Bunch of posers moved into the house across the street from me.
Hmm.
2 days into it, I knew they were dealing. Why? Because they're out on the front doorstep doing what? Passing dime bags where it is. So I walked out the front door and yelled across the street, "Hey, you fucking pricks. Keep it in your house or we're going to have a fucking problem. If you're lucky, it's the cops. If I'm pissed off, it's your house going up in flames." And then I walked back into my house. Their mouse kept going, yelling across the street. So what did I do? I opened up my windshield or my front window and I started cleaning something. I haven't heard from them since in the 5 months they lived here. You let bad things happen in your neighborhoods. You let your neighborhoods get the way they are. Those that, when you turn a blind eye to evil,
I agree.
you're as guilty
Yeah.
for letting the evil spread.
you have to say something. I don't care if it's yo, people got to sleep around here. Turn that down. That's enough.
I
Here,
thought
here,
people
here
was gonna get shot. We were living in Patterson. It was 2 o'clock in the morning or something. They had every type of Caribbean, everything. And listen, I love my Caribbean. I know I'm gonna find it because I'm sure we in the bloodline. I believe we're from Caribbean too. To be honest, it was loud and late, and every weekend it was loud and late, and people work. And he went on outside to these dudes in the front because they used to, had a thing going on in the front of the house. A whole group of them. I'm like, oh my God, please don't get shot tonight. And it was, yo, people work around here. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Could you keep it down? And yeah, he went out and said something to them.
That's
And
our
for
job
a
as a man.
while, yeah,
see,
they keep a lookout on you like, oh, that's this dude every time, and then, they get a reputation of he the one that's gonna say something all the time. You just, but I was
here-
worried. I'm like, I hope he don't try to shoot him.
here's the thing though. Like, if that was to happen in the neighborhood not like that I live in now, if somebody move in and they're selling drugs or whatever, it's easy to it's easy to remedy that, call that person out, and everybody in the community is gonna also partake in it. But if because of financial circumstances, I'm looking for a place to live, and the only place I can move is to the hood, it's
Boom.
going to be hard to sit there and go. Like, if I moved in the hood and I see people dealing across the street and I go out there and I'm like, yo, you better stop hustling this, that, and the third. Guess what?
You're
By next
done.
week, you're going to be
You're
reading
done.
about me in the obituary.
You're done. There is no question. You're done because
Yes.
you're interfering with business. Okay. Listen, they have no problem with a lion being on the streets. They'll let you
Neither
know
do
that
I.
what I'm saying to you is they will let you know that they respect you. They respect you as a lion. But don't make us do what we got to do because we will. And that's the thing. You don't disrespect their hustle. I know people who hustle, right? And I understand why they hustle. I'm not about to sit here and get no. They know damn well I don't agree with that. They can tell, but it's not my hood. This is
But
theirs.
but you also have to think about it too. You were the one that was there. They were the ones that came into your area. It's a
No,
difference
that
when
and that's a
no,
different.
but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying with Mal. They came into his area.
Right. They came
So
into my area as well.
it
These people came into my area.
correct.
They
And
came
I
into
get that, but if
Mel's area. So we know
correct. But
what's
if they
like,
were there first, it's a big difference because if they're there first and you come in and don't know what you're going into, yeah, you're not going to be the one stirring the pot because
now
what you're
keep
going
in
to do
mind.
is
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I know what you
I
were
was going
saying.
to say you're not going to stir the pot. What you're going to do is okay, when this lease over, I'm going to figure out the next place to get up out of this particular area. Because you already know if you're in an area, you moved in it because it was a circumstance, you already know you're not staying there for that long
And then you got
because it
to
ain't
ask
going to
yourself,
change with me.
and then you got to ask yourself this, because if you move into a infested area where they selling drugs and everything, you are going to have families that are looking at it like, yo, I don't like what's going on. Now I have to put myself in a position. Am I going to reach out to these families and be like, yo, let's stand up? But if I do that, are they going to be 100% and continue on with it, or we're going to have a plan and I'm the only one that shows up to execute this plan, which now makes me a target? Am I going to risk my family, risk my kids losing their dad on the strength of everybody else in the community say they're going to
Yeah.
partake, but when the time comes they don't?
It's
I love
neighborhood
that
watch, and you the
logical
only one
fallacy.
that come up to watch. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Boom. Because
love that
understand
logical fallacy.
now. Understand. Well, that sounds like a logical fallacy to you, but they got guns and we don't.
Exactly.
Hold on. So your argument is don't do nothing because if
No,
you
we
do
do
something,
stuff.
No,
oh,
you do stuff, but
We
you
do
also
stuff.
trying
We
to make
just
sure you
we
protect
do it
yourself and you're not the
differently. Like I'm
target.
not about to go outside of a freaking neighborhood that I just came into and say y'all better stop this or else. I'm not doing that. I'm going to
Yeah.
get to know these people first. I need to know
so
what the hell
your
I'm dealing with.
so your statement is don't do nothing because then nothing will happen to you. But we know that's a lie. By allowing these losers to deal dope, your family is still at risk.
Correct.
Because as long as they exist in that neighborhood, whether your mouth is open or closed, you're still risking every time your kid go walking out getting shot over a drug bust or over a drive-by. You're still risking your kid getting mis-ID'd because of those asshats when a cop raid goes down. So no, it's a logical fallacy that if you do nothing, that your family's safe or safer.
But Mal, I already have that going against me of saying I risk my kids and everything getting something happening to me or my family. By now me antagonizing those in the community, I just increased my chances of something happening to me even more. No,
or decreased.
If I don't see it as decreased, because if I move into the area that is already infested and people are hustling, I don't see the decrease with my voice.
How many other families down that block, though, are I don't want to say nothing for fear of?
Very few.
But that's the problem. So a lot of times when
they
you
fine with it, they're their clients.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. A lot of times that's their family members on that same block, that's their clients, because you hear it. It didn't matter where I was. I still talk to the neighbors. Because guess what? Even when we were in the middle of the hood, they washed my car better than I washed my car. Made sure that they weren't doing the stuff in front of me and the kids because they knew that was not what I partake. But it had to get to a point where we had a mutual understanding. I don't agree with your lifestyle. Y'all make sure y'all stay away from me. Y'all make sure y'all don't do this right here, because the problem is I can't do nothing about it. You know how many times people have called the cops and the cops like, oh, okay, how about we didn't realize the school teachers was their clients? That is the problem when the whole community goes to you. When they got to that point, it was, I got to get out of this community because there was no changing it. You were too far gone, and
which
nothing I did,
and I'm not saying that that's not a truth. But
Correct.
What I'm saying is, for the most part, when you ignore a problem, when you don't deal with a problem, does it get better or does it get worse?
It gets worse.
It gets worse, which is why we're dealing with the problems that we're dealing with it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is there are certain places, like, for example, let's go right back to the topic. We're talking about dealing with turning certain people into housewives, right? Or house or husband, right? And what are we saying in this thing? We're saying if you can't reason with them before you even get to a point, you don't waste your time with that.
Yes.
What we're doing is we're telling you, don't let your house become infested, because once it is, you're locked in until you can actually get out. That's what we're talking about, whether it's the hood and drugs, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever. If there is a route is when you can't return from. There's a point of no return. There you go. In every environment, you can't do nothing. You might as well just go ahead and flip the table at this point. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Put it.
But my but for this goes back to, if we don't start reducing these areas, I'm assuming for a woman's perspective, a lot of these, what we're talking about tonight, are because they feel they got no choice.
Yes. So and I think that's the biggest thing.
If we don't start reducing these environments, we can't reduce the amount of these people, which means it's its own epidemic.
Which is why we're having these conversations. See, these conversations, whether Google or whomever is controlling this stuff or not like it, it gets out there. All it got, you can't unhear what you heard here. And if it made sense to you, it's nothing you can do about it but listen to it and think about it. You can't help it. It's human nature to want to do better. So if you're not dead and gone in your heart or whatever, you want to hear this and it's going to resonate. Why do you think so many people are willing to argue for no reason? What are you arguing for? I don't got to. You arguing because something resonated with you. What was that? Follow that. That's where you unlock. Follow it. That's why I said it. I didn't say it to condemn you. I said it to give you some food for thought. It's going to hurt. If you don't get an emotional response from it, it don't matter.
Yeah.
If you don't
Because
have
that's the only
skin
way
in
you're
the
gonna follow
game,
it. Listen, you don't care about your feet until they start hurting. Oh shoot, my feet hurt.
Yep.
Hmm. And
But
see, for
but
me,
think
it goes back to what Mal said though, because if you're trying to vet or entertain a woman that is a H, I strongly believe lay all the cards on the table, say, yo, this is what I'm looking for. What are you looking to do? Are you willing to change or whatever the case may be? At least get the introduction of what the goal is. Because it's kind of like
and the
you go back to
rules.
we go back to the people that are hustling on the block or whatever. Even if we move in and we get to know these people and talk to them, it's like, yo, why are you hustling? Whatever. You ever thought about getting out of it? You ever thought about doing this? There's money to make doing this. Same process. If you meet this woman, yo, why are you putting yourself being promiscuous out there like that? Like, have you ever thought about, changing your lifestyle, getting a career, whatever the case may be? And if what they say don't line up, then that's an individual that don't want help. So you move on. Because there
but
are H's that are happy being a H and they want to do that. And
correct.
that's fine. That's cool.
Yep.
But if you're gonna even entertain of seeing the possibility of turning an H into a housewife, you have to ask these questions, set down ground rules, and then go from there.
Nope.
And they
Then
also
you
One
have
more
to
start
see
to
thing.
better.
There's
They
one more
also
thing.
have to see better too, because that's
Right.
another thing. If
yes.
you don't have families around these people or the right type of marriages around these people, they won't get it either. Because a
You
lot
have
of
to give
times,
them something to tailor themselves against.
correct. Because a lot of times, if you think about it and you talk to most of these women, they did not have the right structure around them. And I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing too. Because think about it. You have, like, I talk to some of everybody. I have, you have those conversations with people and you're like, no, I don't have any married friends. It's like, wait, you're how old? And you don't, no, nobody around me got married. I have not been to a wedding. I have not, like, you have people who really be in their 30s and 40 years old and don't have nothing like that.
Yeah.
They grew up in a single parent home. Everybody around them is a single parent. And it's like, hmm. But then it's like, okay, do you talk to other people that's not in the social circle that you had? No, because they're not trying to, in my case, make new friends. Because I'm starting to realize people in their adult lives don't try to make new friends. They don't try to participate in the community that often. They don't even talk to their coworkers. So you don't even know how to bring in those kind of people because guess what? They're not looking for those kind of people.
I agree. I was gonna say like while he was talking about you can't just that's for if that's a age or say if that because we were talking about the hood or neighborhoods that are and drug infested or whatever the case. Listen, you have to be able to offer them an alternative. This is all they're used
Hmm.
to. This is their hustle. She makes this a night. What are you talking about? What do or the same thing with him. This is his lifestyle. I've known, I mean, countless, I mean, even to the point of just I've known countless. We've known countless. Look, they get out, they going right back in. They got out. This is what they made. They going back in. And there was no convincing them. This is something else you could do with your life. Are you kidding me? I make that in the night. What are you talking about? So it has to be some other type of alternative. They have to want to. Like Erica said, and it's even a comment in the comments there saying maybe they were surrounded by people, but everything that they were surrounded by was toxic. So you have to be able to present something else better than or what they may perceive as a better option than what they're used to. Or it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're just going to keep on doing and repeating whatever it is that they want to do with their life.
So
Agreed.
I'm going to build off that because the way I will phrase it and the way I'll build off it is it's not enough to talk the talk. People can go to chapters and get a self-help book for that shit. When you trying to talk somebody into something new, you got to show them what the package looks for. You got to let
Boom. They have to
them and
see it.
sell it.
You gotta give, hey, here's the showroom floor. This is how your life is going to be for the next forever. You have to show them that. They need to know what they're getting into.
Let me ask you this, Gary and Mal, right? And we take it to the drug, like I'm going to the drug dealer route, whatever, right? If I'm a guy that's working, my 40, 50 hours a week or whatever, have a decent apartment, yada yada. Now I go speak to these people like, yo, there's a different alternate route to go. Look, this is what I make, yada yada, this, that, and the third. If there's an astronomical difference of what they make and the lifestyle they're living as opposed to mine, they're like, yo, the math ain't math in here. So it's like,
sorry, Erica, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so you have to look at different things then. So look at the skills somebody would have if they out there doing that. You can align that with real estate. You could align that with being an entrepreneur. You could switch it up and still make the same kind of money without that risk.
Erica's talking step 2. I think that there's a step before that. And I'm going to phrase it like this: then and now. Then was in the 80s and 90s. I don't need to talk to you, the nickel bag dealers, about how much they're making. Why is that? Because they had to worry about the cops rolling up out of them, beating their ass, throwing their ass in jail, and doing proper time. Because we have gone soft on crime, because we've made these criminals victims, they don't fear anymore. Mm-hmm. You want to clear up the large portion of these problems? No problem. You get 3 federals under your belt, you get the needle. You're a lifer. We're done with you. You don't belong in society anymore. You start upping the punishments and clearing out the trash, you increase the risk. That lessens the reward. Right now, Wally's right. Right now, I can go out and buy a pound of dope for $500, and I can make 15 off of it. And if I get caught with it, oh no, I get 60 days in jail, and they still didn't find my brick because I got it hidden. So I might lose a couple $100. Now, where the cops can, where if the law said we bust you with any illegal substance selling, your ass is going to jail, and any property that we know or assume is yours is being confiscated and sold off. So your rental apartment, that the cops now have a free warrant to go through, clear that entire place out, and sell off everything for your society. Again, you get 3 federals under your belt, you get an injunction. When crime doesn't pay, we've got rid of the risk versus reward. And now that we've gotten us down to this risk reward where it's manageable amounts of people, now we can look at Erica's center stage as step 2. Yeah. Let me show you how the skills you're learning can translate into a job that doesn't get you a lethal injection, doesn't get you a couple of years in jail, doesn't get you having to restart every 6 months when you get busted.
Now, how can we translate that into the consequences for H words?
Don't surround yourself with them.
Think about it. It's going to be the same. No, you don't surround yourself with them. You have guys now have a standard, and they're the buyers, aka of that particular person. So you have to start listening to who you want to be with,
or you will end up with cats.
Correct.
That's
the alternative.
Now
because
you have
I
a lot
don't
of
have
people,
to date that person. I don't have to marry that person.
Right. But you have a lot of people that will call those men insecure for having those standards. What do you say about that?
You can't, though. And the reason is guys have evolved over time. In the beginning, you were right. It was whoever's going to take me, let's go. But when you start realizing that's not doing any justice for those guys, yeah, no, I don't want to deal with your foolery no more. That means you need to do better. So if you need to do better, that means you surround yourself with better. That means you take away some, because you can't take away the mileage. So that means you need to put less mileage on. It's like a car. Once that odometer get raised, it ain't coming back. It's not. I don't care how many injections and surgeries you try to get. You can't take that body count. You can't. No. So the issue with that is it's like, Why are you at that point? Why were you doing what you were doing? Because if you doing it because somebody on the gram was doing it, guess what? That wasn't the right person for you to be looking for on the gram.
Right. They
Or
can
what?
sell all they want, but if ain't nobody buying, then they just sitting on the shelf collecting dust.
Correct. And I
But
think
And if
that's
that
the
the
thing.
store where you're shopping has a do not enter sign, if you a hoe, you don't enter here, and we're going to actively usher you out. Well, guess what? Now we're not seeing it anyway. So when you move yourself into a better surrounding, this again, man or woman, this doesn't matter. It's not what, right? If you're surrounding yourself with the right kind of people and the people that you want to be like, then you're segregating from yourself from the people you don't want to be like.
correct.
So you're not going to see whether or not it's for sale. And you don't care because you're not shopping in that store anyway. And that store is going to have one of two things happen. You're wrong and they're going to flourish, or you're right and they're going to go broke. And then they got to
Right.
change.
Right.
But
Now,
that's
there's another quick point that's off topic and on, and that is something that Gary shared with me a long time ago that resonates and that I keep very close anytime we talk about this. For you people in chat, please listen to me. If you're going to bitch about it, do something about it. Most of these places are having the problems they're having because these people don't have mentors. They don't have positive people in their world or in their life. So if you're that positive person, if you can offer some space, some skills, something, go to your local church and say, hey, I know how to weld. I'd like to teach people, young kids how to weld. So I'm offering my time and my services once a month, every Thursday, once a month for welding. Let me know when you got a group. That's all it takes.
And I'm gonna throw a couple more. You got these mentor programs that's already set up. You got the big brother, little brother programs. You have the YMCAs of the world. You have the Boys and Girls Club. Think about it. These are all charity-based, community-based programs that are already established. And
Step up.
they need volunteers. So even if you don't want to go, hey, I want to commit to the next 6 months, just go, hey, are y'all doing anything? Do y'all need some help? Can I show somebody how to tie a tie? Do you not understand? You got a whole slew of kids
Anything.
who don't have
Not
Anything.
anything.
money.
Anything.
And it don't
Money
even have to be
will
money.
not
I'd
get
rather
to
you
them.
money.
not give the money
Money
because
will
guess what?
not get to
The
them.
money doesn't do nothing. It does not go to them. I'd rather you go teach somebody. I'd rather
Money,
you go have a conversation.
we've already proven throwing money at the problem doesn't fucking solve it. Your time is free.
Increased inflations is what it does.
Right.
That's
Throwing
why I
money
know
at
I'm
the
a.
problem. Sorry, Wally.
No, I'll say that's why I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but that's why like I was a person who whenever I hear people talk about reparations, I'm like, just throwing people money does nothing. All you're gonna have now is just a group of people buying cars, jewelry, and stuff, throwing
Going
money
worse
at the
than that because they don't know.
situation.
They
Yeah,
think that's how you're supposed to be. Like
yeah.
they see the lifestyle that these rich and shameless live in, and they think that's what they need to do to live that lifestyle. They don't know that that's not the lifestyle. And they just figured out how to make cars look shinier,
Yep.
but they not better than what they was. They're worse.
And
You know what I'm
that's the
saying?
thing. And that's the thing with the H. The H's, they see a lifestyle that other women are living online.
There you
So
go.
they wanna experience this. And that's why they're H's and they're out there being promiscuous because they're like, hey, if I put out the person with money is gonna come to me, I could get the things I want, get all these nice bags, these nice shoes, yada yada, all just for putting out.
Yeah, but my thing is that is the easy way out because guess what?
No, it's not.
They don't,
But to them, no. But think about it. If it's something that I have to work for myself, I will appreciate it better than if
They did
somebody
have to
hands
work
it to
for it.
me.
They
they
had
did.
to hit the
Yeah.
gym. They had to spend all these hours doing their work. Makeup and their nails and their.
Yeah.
They work for it. Like hoeing ain't easy.
No,
The
it's not.
problem
You
is,
are you are literally you can't eat the wrong things. You can't have the like. It's not easy. Then you got to one up it. They started off with the tramp stamp. They up the ante and up the ante up the ante. Now you got women getting tattoos on the side of their head and stuff. Like they
Yo,
just doing anything but
just
up
think
the ante.
just think about the risk that these women are taking getting these BBLs and stuff, something that could literally kill you. You're willing to take the risk just to draw more attention. So
the
it's not
problem
easy.
is, it's not that hoeing's hard or not hard. Hoeing is not easy. The problem is it's short term.
Correct.
Very.
Yes.
It only
Yes.
takes care of you in your 20s to your, if you're lucky, 40s.
And that's why they look to try and rush the process when they're in their 30s
Wife
or
up,
40s.
as you called it.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
is
That's
why
what. Sorry, no,
Go
I was
ahead,
saying
Miss.
that's
Go ahead, Miss Eric.
what Wally was talking about. That's why when they get to that time frame and they're like, oh, okay, they don't want to wait that year or two, that time they supposed to be being vetted and all of that because they know that they pretty much been timed out and aged out of the game, so to speak, and it's time to get out and try to live your life where she should have been doing that 10, 15 years ago. Now she's trying to rush and hope that she could get some fool to believe that she gonna just automatically decide to change and all of that. You don't know that that's the case. The only thing I wanted to say is to what y'all were saying about um volunteer and hey, let's start this up. And even now we've had that many men's groups at church and stuff like that. It really boils down to, even I bring up COVID a lot because people think like, oh, it's over. It's not over. People still dealing with so many mental and emotional, baggage and disorders from that. It's a lot of still longevity, long lasting, lingering effects from that whole scenario. And not to say that they can't happen tomorrow. We don't know. So it's like, you know, enough of we have, all of us, we have to be to the point where enough of it is not my business, my for no more, do what you do, and mind your bit, just keep your head down. And at some point, I mean, that's why we up here, at this time of night on a Saturday. We have to be able to have these conversations. We have to be able to be willing, really. It stopped there, like, to be willing. You gotta. It's so many programs that's already out. Ain't nobody trying to leave a house. We get home from work, we tired. Don't nobody, and the kids is there for them, but then the parents have to want to be able to bring them to be involved, to go talk to these other parents as there, have conversations and network and all of this stuff. We have to
and
want
not be
to be
fake.
bothered.
Yeah.
I was about to say that
Yeah.
because that's the other thing. You're right. You get some where they genuinely like, yo, as we're the parents of this program, come on, let's do what we need to do. You get others who are like, all right, I'm gonna sit in my chair and I'm gonna play on my phone. I'm not saying I don't like those parents too, but I feel like if that's what you were doing, it's like, okay, I'm gonna drop my kid off and I'm gonna go sit in the car. You're not doing it. You're not trying to build your community.
In
It's
fact,
you
you're
looking for.
teaching your kids laziness.
Yes, you
It's
are.
not even that. What they're doing in my book, I feel like they're utilizing these programs as babysitters to take away the time for them to enjoy their kids' activities and the stuff that
And
they
But
like.
interact with their
Erica,
own child.
Correct.
but Erica, my question to you then is: doesn't that fall under, if you see something, say something?
Yes and no.
No,
So
no, there's no. If you think that parent is using this community group as a babysitter and not being involved, challenge them.
yes. So
But how would you challenge them?
this is the thing.
Excuse
You
me,
got to look at the
I've seen you
program's
the last few
policies.
weeks. I've seen you the last few weeks coming here, bringing your kid. You're sitting in the chair playing on your phone, or you're sitting in your car. This is supposed to be us being mentors, setting an example for our kids. So I think that you either aren't going to fit in this group and maybe you need to move on, or maybe, hopefully, even better, this is a wake-up call for you that you'll get more involved. It's that hard.
So what I did notice is with some of the programs that I choose now, I look at their bylaws. I look at their policies. I want the programs that have the parents have to do a commitment. It's, hey, this program is for the next 8 weeks. You have to participate as a ref, as a somebody bringing in prepackaged snacks. I like those because guess what? It holds the parents accountable. When you see the sign up sheet and it's like, okay, you signed up 3 times and you signed up 0. Okay, well, guess what? We're not inviting you back. And I'm not saying this to be funny, but you have parents. Yes, if you're not trying to do the participation, then you're gonna be mad because now I'm taxing your pockets. Okay, you don't have the time to come and do the stuff. Okay, well, guess what? We need bags of orange slices and apples. Here's your cost, because your cost is the equivalent of me participating for the last 2 hours,
Right.
or having to sign up for that 10 hours for the whole program. So you have to pick the choices at that point.
But at the end of the day, it's we need to make sure. Step one, those that can, donate your fucking time. If you're going to complain about it, if you've got the energy to flap your gums about the problem, then you got the energy to put in a couple hours a week somewhere. Big brothers, big sisters. I'm sure if you go to your local church, there's 30 community outreach programs in any given community that are begging for time. Nothing more.
Yeah.
You don't have to convert to their religion. You don't have to. They just want you to show up at a time and be there with your hands and a positive attitude for a couple of hours a week. So if you can flap your gums, you can put those 2 hours in. If you can't be bothered to put those 2 hours in, shut up.
That's what I just said, or shut up.
Right.
You don't get to talk if you're not saying anything.
It's the
I mean,
same
if you're
thing
doing
as
anything.
voting. It's the same thing as voting. You ain't take your butt down there to vote. Shut thine face.
Exactly. Don't complain about what you don't put effort into. Because I'm tired of hearing about it.
That's true.
I put my money where my mouth is. I'm up here for the whole of you all to see, with a mirror held up to my face. So when there's comments, when there's chats, when one of the panel holds my feet to the fire over something, I don't get to hide and run away from it. Because if I hide and run away from it, everyone here is going to call me out on it.
Yeah.
So I only
And if
have
you can't be called out, you can't call out.
Yeah.
Right. So my only solution then is if I run away, I'd have to run away forever. Because the minute I come back, y'all are going to call me out on it. So I'm up here putting my wholeness on the table, good, bad, or other. And there's other people in this chat and in this room that can at least say that Mel's willing to put his money where his mouth is, and that he'll take the time for one-on-one to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, openly and honestly. There's hundreds of thousands of people that I've helped in court and so on and so forth. I put my money where my mouth is, in spades. I'm asking for you to put 10% of that effort out there. The good old expression, because I think I hear that music coming, is piss or get off the pot. Peace.
I have a question for the panel, because we all understand that the life of a H is short-term money and everything like that, right? Like you're only gonna live the glamour life for but so long. Do you think a H can build long-term currency if they basically partner up with a couple that's into the swinger life or looking to engage in threesomes?
You're talking
and I know
about
Gary. I know Gary. You probably like why I'm bringing this into fruition.
That's a dang shame. I hope this is for another show.
It is.
I hope it's for another show because
It
we
is.
because
It
boy,
is.
we're not even going to start. We ain't even going to start there. But you know,
Yeah.
Lord,
That's the cliffhanger.
That's a dangerous conversation. Because that might be up to Ali. And I mean, that even Dr. Umar Johnson mentioned it in his own silly way, where he said, if you want multiple wives, you can't leave the single mothers out, which is why I said what I said well, y'all didn't see the video yet, but I have a video that I'm working on, and I basically said, is monogamy fair for all women? Think about that. The women that can't get a good man because there's not that many around, is it fair that they gotta get cats for the rest of their life? Is that fair? And you look at that kind of question, it's like, hold up, that's crazy. Because there's a lot of men willing to take on those women if they can only have multiple of them. So you look at that and say, all right, I can't be mad at somebody wanting to live their life and have some type of happiness.
I
My wife and
can.
I were just talking about this. You know, I can't, I can't argue that.
I
I know,
can.
of course you
Oh,
can, but
of course you
but
can, but
thank
say
God
say yeah.
you are not the you know what I'm saying? Thank God you ain't the guy. I'm glad you ain't the guy, okay? If you was the guy, we all be screwed. You're not the guy. You have your opinion. And yes, it might be thousands of leagues beyond us, but it ain't where it's supposed to be because nobody still has been able to fix this damn problem.
So the quick answer to Wally's thing is you're talking about a unicorn. Just like, can you make it rich on OnlyFans? Yeah, but only point zero. I think the last measure was 0.02% of all women are making over 6 digits on OnlyFans.
Oh God, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a listen, monogamy is the
in the
is the is
lottery.
the way to go. You know, being
But
realistic about who you are and where you are in life is the best way to go. If you
but
realistic with who you are, you'll be all right. But a lot of these men think you know what I'm saying? They think they can pull, a Kevin
yeah,
Samuels. I'm like, bruh,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
You can't.
But I like the point that you did make, Gary, where you're like, yo, is it fair to these women? Because we all know it's more women than men.
Hmm.
So I like that dynamic that you brought into it, and I'm looking forward to that video that you drop that talks about this. But yeah, that's going to be a conversation I believe we could definitely have for next Saturday.
Okay.
That can be a conversation I
Well, I
see.
think you're gonna be hosting this one because I'm gonna take a break. I've been hosting it.
All good
Last
with
night
me.
was
All
the
good with
crap that
me.
yo. Last night was the ish, man. That was a great,
Thank you.
great freaking
Appreciate
live.
it.
I
Appreciate
love
it.
the dynamic between y'all two. And when Mel came in and started throwing bombs way,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
awesome.
Definitely appreciate it.
But that is the end of the live. Is there any other thing someone else wants to say?
No.
Look, the only thing I want to say is, look, man, I enjoy this conversation. Hopefully that helped, people that tuned in. It helped them. If you are a H, I hope it helped you make an informative decision on what direction you want to go to. Appreciate all the comments. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Hey, you could have been doing anything, but you was here with us. Hell, it's a big pay-per-view fight tonight, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it. Love you guys, and that's all I'm gonna say. Peace out.
Well, that is the end of the live, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say thank you, Wally, for that beautiful, beautiful exit. I'm not even going to try to top that. All I'm going to say is thank you for everyone that came to the live. I truly appreciate every last one of you who came and who stayed. I thank you all. This is Gary Lim signing off. You guys have a go.